Yay! Gang! Welcome to another episode of Whick the Oh, it's a rough one out there, gang. It's a rough one out there. Can I just take a moment while we start this shit show, right? To complain just a little? May I? Do I have your permission, Allison? May I
You
complain
do.
just a little? Just a tad, just a smidge. Okay, when you are booking shows, yeah, I understand. Things come up. Sometimes you have to move things. I get it. But if it's moving more than once and you don't tell people it's moving till an hour before it's moving, you're not doing your job. You're not doing your job right. You just aren't. Look, I was supposed to come on Kick or Keep. It was supposed to be on Monday. So I prepped. I set up my week based around that. It's been an interesting show to go on, right? The political Kick or Keep, go on there. Always good to be in front of a lot of eyeballs. Get without being a moderator, to be clear, so I could actually get in the fray. That'd have been fun. It'd been fun. Be great. But then Karatos, who is doing all the scheduling, DMs me, is like, "Hey, we got to move this to Tuesday." But he did. He tells me this. I think it's
Tuesday.
Sunday. I think it's Sunday, right? I think it's Sunday. He tells me this. So the day before, it might have been Saturday. Either way, it was enough time where I thought, okay, we have to move it. We have to move it. It's okay. I'll mess with things. I can make Tuesday work. So I mess with things. We have kind of an impromptu thing yesterday, which I don't think went very well personally because it was very last minute. But whatever, we'll do it, right? I need to get content out there. Need to get a show out there. And today was going to be, okay, we're going to go in front of Destiny, going to go in front of all these eyeballs. We'll be fine. Don't hear anything from him, though. I don't know the topics. I don't know anything going on. So I message him this afternoon, like, hey, is this still happening? Where is this happening? Are we doing it in Destiny's Discord? Are we doing it in Karatos' Discord? Who else is going to be on the show? When do you want us to show up? All these things I hadn't heard from. I didn't know, so I asked. Don't hear anything from him. An hour ago, maybe 2 hours ago. Time is a construct, right? He's like, yo, we're moving this to Wednesday. I can't do Wednesday. I have plans Wednesday. I scheduled out my week. Wednesday, tomorrow, we have Aristocracy on. And 10 out of 10 times, I'm going to pick Aristocracy over a game show. 100%. Aristocracy's top tier content. So this is just, I don't understand it. Very unprofessional. I don't know who canceled, to be clear. I don't know if it was Destiny or Karatos or whoever. But yo, it's just so unprofessional. Julie! Hi.
Hello.
Well, you got a camera for us today?
Yeah, give me 1 minute.
I have heard allegations. Obviously, I don't know for sure. Well, allegations that Karatos is getting paid $4K a month to book this show. And if that's true, love you, Karatos, but you need to do better.
Fucking
I don't know if it's true. I don't know shit, but that's what people are saying. That's what people are saying.
Amount of money.
Yeah, it might look. This might not be Karatos' fault. To be clear, it might be Destiny's fault. I don't know. All I know is that it's a problem. And if it happens once or twice, that's one thing. But I don't know. Just pick a time, get it right. Don't jerk us around. Emergencies happen. Look, I'll feel really bad if I find out someone died or something, right? Like or someone's house caught on fire. I'd feel bad about complaining. But at the end of the day, set a show to make the time work as much as possible. Anyway, Julie, how are you?
I am tired today. I stayed up really late and then I overslept. I think I woke up like an hour ago.
Overslept. First of all, yo, your sleep schedule mirrors mine. I am very much a night owl. I will stay up till like 5 or 6 in the morning and I won't wake up till 2. It's a thing. But waking up an hour ago, what is that your time? Like 4 your
2
time?
p.m.? No, yeah, 2 p.m.
2 p.m. Okay, yeah. That's about when I do it. Well, you're 4 hours behind? Oh no, an
Yeah.
hour ago would have been 5, so 3. So yeah, you're in Pacific time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh man. Well, thanks for coming, gang. I cast summon white women and they appear, right? So thanks for showing up today. We'll see what other white women show up for this kind of a half call-ins, half hangout, half just do whatever kind of session we're gonna do. But what's up with both of you? Like what? Like I know you're tired and you're feeling blah. What about you, Allison? How you feeling?
Pretty good. I have got a final tomorrow, but I feel okay about it. And I actually have another final on Friday, but I feel like aggressively okay about that one. Like I shouldn't even be getting credits for this class. It's so easy. It's insane. But and then I start my job next week, and it's like a clerkship. It's not like a legit job. I'm still in school, but like I'm so excited.
You're really diving into the white women trope. I love it. We're gonna go with it. We're gonna keep it going. This is how we're doing it. Okay, right? Like, and you got the white woman drink of choice. Okay.
I listened to "Come On Eileen" while I was getting ready, so it's
God.
it's a thing.
Fair enough. Is that Pokimane? Yes, we have Pokimane on my show right now. This is Pokimane. I don't know which one you're referring to, but yes, that is. So what's up? So how? Like, I tuned into your show yesterday, Julie. Just briefly. You were painting your toenails,
I
right?
was. Yes.
What color
You are on
did
Wiki
you
Feet
choose?
now.
No, I wasn't showing my feet. I don't show feet. No free feet.
No, see, that's why. She knows the game. She knows how this is played, okay? You're no stranger to this content. You were telling me something I didn't know. I didn't know you used to stream back in the day with Pokimane, actually, right?
No, not with her. We were in like compilations on like YouTube and shit together.
What does that mean?
Like someone like edited clips of us in like a streamer fails thing or whatever.
Oh, okay. So you were literally just in the same kind of...
Yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant.
No, when you were talking about it yesterday, for some reason, I thought you would like go on shows with her.
No.
I thought it was way cooler than it was.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Chan the Rook says this chick is female me. Which one? Which this chick? You got to be a lot more specific. We have more than one white woman today. So you can't just say this chick. You have to be very specific, gang. Right, left, I don't know. But yeah, this is kind of a call-in show, actually. So if you want the white woman council to judge you, right, and to, solve your problems, perhaps, call in. Here's the Discord. Click the link. Jump backstage. When we're ready, we'll pull you on and we'll talk to you for a little bit until we're bored. I don't know. I'm sorry. Today's very seat of the pants. Today's just kind of whatever comes up. We're just kind of gonna go with it, gang. We're gonna see what happens. I don't know. Shit. I don't know. Do people like... So, Julie, I've seen you do several shows before. Do people cancel on you a lot, like, or do you just kind of like how do you deal with it when like your plans fall through? I guess I'll ask that.
I celebrate when my plans fall through.
You what? Why?
So I don't have to do anything.
That's not good though. You want to do stuff, don't you? Why don't you want to do stuff?
Like if it means I don't have to interact with anyone, I can just like lay in bed and watch movies. That's great.
Fair enough. Well, I'm sorry to drag you away from your doing nothing, and but I do thank you for being willing to come in and do something. I don't know. Allison, give us something to talk about while we wait. Give us a topic.
That Lizzo lawsuit.
Tell us about it.
Okay. So this, like, I haven't even looked at the documents, right? But a lawsuit was just filed, allegedly, by 3 Lizzo former dancers, quote, accusing the singer of sexual harassment weight shaming, and creating a hostile work environment. I'll just read you this little caption. 3 of Lizzo's former dancers have filed a legal complaint alleging that they face sexual, religious, and racial harassment and disability discrimination while working for the singer. The lawsuit states that while Lizzo's tour was in Amsterdam, she pressured members of her dance team to touch sex workers and eat bananas from their vaginas.
Oh my goodness, that is quite an introduction. Okay, hello.
Yes.
Dude,
He's also accused of bringing
dear.
attention to a dancer's weight gain. Does not specify what damages the plaintiffs are seeking. But yes, welcome.
Barry,
wow.
first of all, thanks for showing up. You
Hello.
got a camera for us today? My white woman spell is working, okay?
White
My
woman.
wizard powers are very strong. I have summoned more white women. We are gathering the council, okay?
Okay. And what have we been gathered today to discuss precisely?
Nothing
Worried
precise.
about
I don't
nothing.
understand. Like right now we're talking about this apparently lawsuit that Lizzo summoned, or Lizzo's facing.
3 of Lizzo's former dancers have filed a lawsuit allegedly. Haven't seen the plaintiff's complaint, but yeah.
And it's for sexual harassment. That's what the complaint is about.
Racial, sexual, religious harassment, and disability discrimination. I can try to pull up the documents. Let me try to pull it up.
What on earth is this lawsuit? Okay, you need to explain more. That's quite a menagerie of claims there.
Lizzo,
Yo, like,
Dan.
I'm still stuck on the bananas out of vagina sink. Like, what was happening?
Okay.
What was
There's a
happening?
little-
Like, Lizzo's. Am I thinking of the right person? Lizzo's the flutist, kind of bigger lady. She does singing and dancing. Yes,
Indeed.
that is who I thought Lizzo was. I thought her thing was being cool and being a singer and body positive. I did not know about the banana. This is the first I'm hearing of the bananas.
I got us a case citation. It's Crystal Williams, Ariana Davis, and Noelle Rodriguez v. Big Girl, Big Touring Inc. Girl is spelled with 3 R's and no vowels. Delaware Corporation, Melissa Jefferson, aka Lizzo, and Charlene Quigley, who I don't know. And I will read through this PDF. I'll drop it in the chat, actually.
Do you know who Lizzo is, Julie?
Do I?
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you think of these claims? What do you think of these allegations?
I can't. For eating bananas out of a vagina, bro. What?
Okay, yeah, that's a little like, yeah.
Bro, that's actually insane.
Okay, I just tried to send it in the pit
I'm just
chat,
trying to think.
but-
I'm just trying to think of the circumstances, right, where you would ever be in that situation to have that pressure put upon you in a workplace or a work environment. Like, I understand you go on tours, maybe you have some parties, right? Maybe you go backstage, you smoke a little weed or something. I don't know, right? I've never been a touring rock star or musician or anything like that. But yo, what's going on? What is happening? And did you guys hear about the Cardi B lawsuit as well? Or the
No.
charges filed
Is
against
it about the
Cardi B?
microphone throwing?
Yeah, the microphone. What do you guys think about that?
I did hear. I don't know very much about it. I did see the very brief clip of her throwing the microphone, but I don't know what the context is around what happened precisely.
Someone threw
Did
a
it
drink at
actually-
her, and she threw the microphone back. That's the video I saw.
I thought
And
it
the
hit
music kept
DJ.
playing.
Yeah, I thought that she threw it at the DJ and that it hit the DJ. That's what I heard, but
Oh,
I
that
don't
was
know.
That was the second time. She threw another microphone.
She threw 2 microphones in one night?
No, different
Oh.
nights.
I got some spice in this Lizzo complaint. During filming, Miss Quigley discovered that Miss Davis, who is a plaintiff, was a virgin, and Miss Davis's virginity became a topic of extreme importance to Miss
Oh
Quigley.
my god.
In the months to follow, Miss Quigley would routinely bring up Mrs. Davis'
Is
virginity.
Miss Quigley Lizzo, or is this a different?
No, they don't specify who Miss Quigley is, but she is one of the defendants. So she's getting
Okay.
sued along with Lizzo and Big Girl, Big Touring Inc., which is, I guess, a production company. But these were all people who competed on some reality show that Lizzo had to, like, fine dancers, and they were scouted from this reality show. And they're saying that when they went on tour, it went wrong. Contestants were told they would be required to participate in a nude photo shoot. While some contestants were not bothered by this, the prospect of a nude photo shoot made other contestants severely uncomfortable. One plaintiff was particularly distressed by this challenge. Blah, blah, blah. So there's like multiple... The bananas out of the vagina was clearly the most salacious, but there are other allegations of sexual harassment. Sorry to interrupt, but this is like a spicy... Also, I couldn't get the pit chat to load. I tried to drop a link to this
I have permission,
complaint.
so randos can't just spam the chat.
That's fair. Do you want me to put this PDF in a
Just
chat
put it
somewhere?
in there should be like a fucking research thing. I'll put it in general. I don't care.
Okay.
If people want to look at it, you can go to my Discord and look at it general.
It's a deadline link,
Like,
and it pulls up
is
PDF to the
this-
complaint.
The more I hear about like the music industry, and we've always known like the entertainment industry, I should say, is kind of toxic, right? Practices that go on that are probably not good. And by probably not good, I mean in some cases abusive and horrific. But is this just par for the course at this point? Like, are there any good kind of professional, entertaining, big names left? What do you guys think? No? Yes? Maybe?
I mean, like, unfortunately, probably this is par for the course, but that's not good. I think it's probably good that people can sue for it.
Would you, hey, Julie. I'll ask you, Fairy Queen, next, but I'm curious what Julie thinks. Try to, lubricate the wheels of discussion here. And gang, this is call-ins, so if you want to call in with something, jump backstage. You're approached, offered a gig working with Taylor Swift, Lizzo, or a huge name, like someone who will make your career. You will be the influencer that you've always wanted to be, right? You will be a star. But you got to put up with this shit, okay? You got to put up with people constantly sexually harassing you, constantly hitting on you, constantly all these things. Do you do it? Why or why not?
I don't think I'd be able to do it. I think there's a lot of people that would, but I personally would not be able to get through that.
Really? Not for any amount of fame, any amount of money? There's no...
Being famous sounds terrible to me. So to me, it just like doesn't appeal to me at all.
Sounds like hell.
What do you think, Faye? What about you? You can champion all your causes that you want, right? Like all the you could be the next female influencer that leads young women to a promised land, okay? But you have to deal with this kind of shit.
Well, I think that we need to be very clear about what it means by dealing with this, right? There's a big difference between having somebody asking you to perform a bunch of salacious acts, right, behind closed doors and agreeing to something like that, and having to put up with people making pretty horrible comments about you, right? I think there's a difference between those two different things. If I was going into a workplace where there was extreme pressure to be like in a nude photo shoot or to be involved in like some pretty gross sexual things, I would not want to work there. But if it was simply I'm going into work and people are hitting on me and people are making comments and people are saying things, like that's a different level of like, it's still bad. It's still not acceptable, but it is something that I think it is something that I would probably be able to grit my teeth and ignore and to be able to do what I'd like to be able to do. So I do think there's a difference in level. There's a difference between, right, there's a difference between different kinds of sexual harassment, right? There's a difference between quid pro quo, right? And
hostile work
just putting up
environment.
with a bunch of nasty comments that people leering at. Yeah, there's a difference between those two different things. And the reason why I think I could probably gear up and do it is because welcome to womanhood, ladies. If you want to run for president, if you want to be a part of any high-powered profession, it doesn't matter whether it's the music industry or not, you're going to have to put up with that in some way, shape, or form. And so so yes.
Really? Like, again, I think that when it comes to normal, the non-entertainment industry, so we're not talking movies, we're not talking singing, we're not talking normal business. Largely, I would think it's just, again, while there is some of that there, I don't think it's not nearly at the same level. Is it? Right? If you want, like, you running for a politician's office, you at your workplace are going to be treated fundamentally different than if you were working for Taylor Swift.
Well, that's why I said in some way, shape, or form, right? So the type of like the reasons why it might be hostile for you as a woman to try to succeed as a politician or as a superintendent or to make partner at a law firm, it's going to be very different, right? As opposed to becoming a great big singer, right? Or hitting it big as an actress, right? The type of like the way in which like that type of harassment might be expressed is going to be a little bit different depending on the profession. But I still think you're sadly going to have to put up with it in some way. And so it just depends on like what level you're willing to you're willing to put up with, right?
Maybe. We got a caller. Should I bring him in? Of
course.
Ready, ladies? Yeah.
Ready.
Hello. You have been summoned before the White Woman Council. How do you plead?
I'm married 40 years, guilty.
Throw the book at him, Dano.
You're always guilty. You're just, let's be honest.
What do you got for us today?
First, Whick, how the hell did you, I just don't know how you do this. Is it that they don't find you threatening or they find you threatening? I don't know which. I'm just impressed that you're actually able to get women who have cognitive thought and actually look attractive on a panel.
It's not hard. You just invite them and they show up.
Well, they have to respect you or they hate you, one or the other, enough to come on the show. I mean, we all know there's one that hates you enough that loves you. And that's not okay. I have a question. It's a strange question. Is there enough money? I'm assuming all four of you are principled, have ethics, and have rules and regulations of how you live your life, what your life is. How much money, is there amount of money, or if there is, how much is it for you to violate your principles?
It depends on the principle. Like, I mean, there are some principles where it's like no amount of money, right? But if it's like, I don't like lying. But if they're like, hey, tell a harmless white lie for $2 million, like, yes, I will do it.
Okay.
Like, but I mean, it would have to be something pretty harmless. Like, I don't want to live with guilt forever. Like, I actually don't think money can buy happiness. So if you feel like really bad about yourself for something terrible you've done, I don't think money can like make that better.
Next.
I feel the same way. I would say the same thing.
Okay, next.
Do we have a unanimous ruling by the White Woman Council? What do you think, Fairy?
I'm afraid I'm going to have to pass the buck back to what Allison said. I guess I'd be curious as to what the gesture of the question is. And
well, did you've heard, Whick, do you know the old joke I'm referring to?
Is it the one with Winston Churchill?
No, well,
where basically the joke is Winston Churchill's talking to a lady who's kind of got a annoying reputation and basically asks her, hey, would you sleep with me for $1 million? And or 1 million pounds because it's British, right? And she's like kind of flattered, but it's like, well, I don't know, right? Maybe. And then he's like, well, would you sleep with me for 1 pound? And she, what kind of woman do you think I am? Of course not. And Winston Churchill replies, well, we've already established what sort of woman you are. We're now negotiating on the price.
That's it.
Quote?
But yeah. I wasn't using a sexual situation. I was just using principles and obligations. Whick, would you violate your principles?
Well, 𝕍𝖎 for $5 says, here's $5 for Whick to violate his principles and buy happiness. Yes, I think that there are certain principles that I would violate, and there are certain principles I wouldn't. I can sit here and virtue signal and say every day, all day, that I wouldn't do a thing for any amount of money. But I'm telling you right now, if someone sets a briefcase on my desk right now, opens that briefcase, shows me $50,000 in unmarked bills, what do you want me to do? Like, I'm not killing anyone. I'm not going to hurt anyone. But if you want me to shill for some right-wingers, sure, I'll do it, right? Like, you want me to support Trump as a candidate? Okay. Yeah, it would be dishonest if I pretended otherwise. I think that's just there is a dollar amount. It's just what that dollar amount is.
Well, there's clips of a cake and chest and cake, and so there are some. We have one thing established for you, right?
True, but I don't think one of my principles is not shoving cake in my face. I don't think that's a principled thing.
Understood.
Buddy,
could you do me a favor? Could you? I'm feeling.
To the void. There he goes, girls. To the void. Okay, yeah, this is a call-in show, gang. If you want to be judged by the White Woman Council, you can come in and throw your hat in the ring and see what they have to say. I don't know, like, it's a weird thing to be asked, like, what would you do for money? A lot, sure, but I don't know. I do want to touch on something that recently came out. There's a report. It hasn't been peer-reviewed yet, but it basically is a study on what makes people happy. The biggest indicator of happiness, and I'm curious if you agree, is marriage. Married people are 30 points on average more likely to be happy than unmarried people. What do we think about that? Do we think that's reinforcing the patriarchy? What's the deal here? Is marriage good, bad, indifferent?
Here, wait 1 second.
You said marriage, like people who are married tend to be more happy?
Yes, they are. It's a self-report, right? Like, so it's a self-survey thing, but they report being happy.
Is
30,
it maybe
30
they
points
just feel
likelier.
secure? Maybe it's just the security.
Yes, I'm answering my chat. Yes, self-reported happiness. So yes, this is like, how else are you going to measure happiness? Frank. Yeah.
I mean, I think married people are less likely to deal with loneliness, obviously, and I think loneliness is a huge happiness killer. So that makes sense. I'm biased because my parents have a very happy marriage, and so I'm like, yeah, marriage is great. I know some people have like quite bad marriages, so that happens. But
any other thoughts on this? Look, I'm trying, gang. I'm pulling topics out of my ass here.
I think I'd be curious to know, like, is that true even if you're in an unhappy marriage? So if you're in a dysfunctional marriage, like, are you more likely to be happy as opposed to a single person that's unhappy with being single? So that would be an interesting question I would want to have answered. I'm sure that it's true, and I believe that it's true that if you are married, that you are typically generally more likely to be happy. I still think, though, that it's important to push for happy marriages and for people that belong together and that work well together. I think I watched this, it was on Adam Ruins Everything. I don't know how true this is, but I think after the no-fault divorce laws were passed, I think the female suicide rate went down precipitously afterwards, because many women prior to being able to divorce their husbands chose instead to commit suicide. And so that would be another piece of it that I would be curious about, because I don't deny that, like, the self-reporting data is there. I think it would also have to be corroborated by other factors, though. So if you're married, are you less likely to be an alcoholic? Are you less likely to be depressed? Are you more likely to are you likely to live longer? Like, other examples and proofs of happiness, right, outside of like a self-report would be, and I'm sure that the data is there, and I'm sure that it would prove that marriage makes you more happy, but that would be interesting to see. And I would also be interested to see if that continued to be true even if you were in a dysfunctional marriage. So that's what I would say.
I don't know. It's just something, again, I saw this. People were arguing with 𝕾𝖎𝖙, of all people, because she made a take that if you being pro-marriage is being pro-woman. And pretty milquetoast take, right? Pretty standard, not very controversial, but she was getting roasted for it. She was just getting taken to the ringer for it. Just getting attacked over and over. And I was like, why, look, of all the things to attack 𝕵𝖎𝖙 for, why this? And so I was just curious what everyone else thought. I don't know. It's one of those things. I don't know. What do you girls want to talk about today? What's on your mind, ladies?
I have a bit of a silly topic to ask, which I suppose is fitting for the panel. What do you guys think of outside cats versus inside cats? Do you think it's abusive to keep your cat inside at all times? What do you think of letting your cat outside? Do you have outside cats? I'd never heard of outside cats before, and I'm in a bit of a debate with somebody right now about whether or not I should keep my cat, continue to keep her inside or not. What do you guys think? Allison and Sad Kit Kat. Suppose you are the appropriate people to ask.
An indoor cat, and every time I open the door to go outside, he runs away in fear. So I feel like he's happy being inside. He's like never tried to get out, which I live in an apartment and like that's like not feasible. But I mean, there were outdoor cats at the old apartment that I lived at, and they liked running around outside and stuff. But like I got my cat when he was a 6-week-old kitten, and he's just always been inside, and he's fine with it. And he likes to sit at the window and look at things, right? But he does not want to go outside. So, like I saw, I was watching this show called Marriage or Mortgage, highly recommend. But these women carried their cat around in a stroller, and I genuinely think that if I tried to put my cat in a stroller and take him outside, he would hate it. So.
Interesting.
I personally wouldn't let my cat outside unless I like lived on a farm or something where there was a ton of property around where it could run around. But like if you're by like major roads and stuff, you probably shouldn't be letting your cats outside.
Yeah, that's what I would say too. Like where I live currently, like we have a ton, like it's not out in the country. We live in an apartment complex, you know. There are also lots of stray cats, and it's honestly where I got her from. But she, you know, like she was getting into fights with other cats. She was fighting, getting food from the dumpster, you know. The people let their dogs outside in their yards. Like it was just not a good situation. Anyway, I was just curious to hear what you guys thought, because I was talking to somebody who strongly believes in the importance of letting your cat outside. So I was curious to hear what both of your thoughts were on that. And it is curious too. I really appreciate you bringing up that show, Marriage or Mortgage, because I love that show. That's a great show, right?
So
like, do you
good.
choose your dream wedding, or do you choose a down payment on a house, right? And I've heard varying perspectives on it. One perspective that I've heard is, you know, on the one hand, it's one day. You're going to spend $30,000 on one day. You're going to spend so much money on a dress, on a cake, on wedding invitations, right? It's so absurdly expensive. For the weddings are so expensive. And on top of that, right, there's a huge amount of pressure, right, to spend that much money, right? And that's not even getting into like, do you have a destination wedding? That's extremely expensive. Do you invite everybody in the family? That makes the family happy, right? But it also explodes your guest list, which also makes it more expensive, right? So you're buying your family's happiness at the price of your own, you know, credit score. But the flip side of that is, oftentimes weddings are one of the few occasions where the entire family comes together as a unit, right? And especially if you're getting married and you want to have kids, and if you want to have a big family, it's probably one of the few times where your family and your spouse's family come together and will meet each other, right? Weddings can also be an opportunity to mingle for business, right? They're social gatherings. They often have cultural or historic significance for different groups. And so having a big wedding and making a big deal out of it, it's not just about you and selfishly indulging in cake. It's more about trying to create good connections within the family so that your marriage, and that if you have kids, so that your kids can enjoy those relationships. It's about establishing and putting the right foot forward. So I was curious to see what your thoughts were. Big wedding, no wedding, elopement. Do you guys even care? Or weddings are just stupid? Should marriage go completely out the window? Should we all just have civil unions? What do you think?
Okay, so she basically told the premise of the show, but like just for the audience, the premise is that it takes place in Nashville. There's a real estate agent and a wedding planner. They have these couples that have a budget of like generally 25 to 35K, and they can either drop it on a wedding or drop it on a down payment, hence marriage or mortgage. And they spend a day with the real estate agent touring houses. They spend a day with the wedding planner looking at wedding shit, and then at the end of the episode, they reveal, did they choose the wedding or the house? And okay, we're kind of biased, right? Because we knew when that show took place, i.e. when interest rates were at their very lowest. So it's like, bro, buy the house, get the house. You'll never get that kind of price on a house again. Buy the house. But like, I get it if they're, like some of those couples had been engaged for like a year and a half. And like, I get where you're like ready to get married. The only episode where I was like, okay, actually choose the wedding was there was a man who was about to be deployed, and he mentioned like, my wife gets all these army benefits, my girlfriend does not. And I'm like, okay, that's like really legitimate. But I mean, of course that doesn't mean you have to have a 35K wedding. So it's like, I don't know.
Right.
Courthouse wedding, $75. Just FYI, letting you know. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that these are the whitest topics I can think of for a white woman panel. Weddings and cats, right? So I get it.
I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. This is on brand. We are there. We're peak white womaning today, okay? Like all we need now is for you all to be low key buzzed and drunk, okay? White woman wasted. That's all we need now.
Okay.
I don't know. It's one of those things where this value we place on conspicuous consumption. That's what weddings are in a real way.
Yeah.
You're basically signaling to all your friends and family, etc., how much you love each other by being willing to spend exorbitant amounts of money on an event. People say, right? I've heard say that someone should spend basically whatever their monthly salary is, times it by 5, and that's how much you should spend on an engagement or a wedding ring or something like that. That's always been wild to me. I never understood it. And I think honestly though, it's a great way to weed out people. Like asking a woman that, if they are if they start talking about how personal time. Quick. Okay. This was back when I was in religious still, and I was in my 20s, early 20s. I just gotten off of my mission, and I was going to church dances and things to meet a woman, right? As one does in that kind of community. And I remember dancing this one lady for quite a while, right? We hit it off, we started talking. And then, again, first time meeting this woman, she starts telling me about how she wants to have a fairy tale wedding on the Disney castle, right? She wants to go to Disneyland and have this big wedding with all these expensive things. I took her number, but I never called her. I never texted her or anything like that. That was just too much for me. It was just, I was like, no, that's wild to me that someone would value this that much. I don't know. What do you think? Is there any value to fairy tale weddings and things like that, though? Like, sell me on this, white women. Come on. Convince me why I'm a chauvinist pig for
I am not going to be able to sell you on this.
Huh?
I definitely agree with you. I think it's a huge waste of money.
I mean, like, I want a nice wedding where people have fun and stuff, but like, I mean, that's crazy. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Well, I will try to sell you on it, and just because I do agree with what everyone's saying. Like a big wedding, you should not spend a huge amount of money. It's expensive. Really, it should be on your house. The only reason why I would say, look what it is you're actually spending on. What's the most expensive thing in weddings? Because the most expensive thing is typically the food. It's the price per head. It's the number of people that you invite to a wedding, right? So even if you really cheap it up, right? So let's say you really cheap it up with the dress, you don't get flowers, you go to the local church, maybe you have like a barbecue, like maybe you like, even if you really, really cheap it up, if you invite every single person in your family, if you have a big family and they all want to come and your mom is yapping in your ear telling you, no, you have to invite grandma and your second cousin and your third or your fourth, all of these different people, then it is going to be expensive. And it doesn't matter how cheaply like you save on all of these other things, you're going to have to drop a hefty amount of cash to invite all of these people. And like, it just depends, because sadly, part of what makes it expensive is trying to appease family traditions, like especially if you're a woman, right? Like, because then you have your grandma or your mom or your friends, who say, okay, who on the one hand will tell you, oh, you need to cheap it up. You need to not spend too much money. But then you'll buy the cheap dress and they'll say, really? You're going to wear that to your wedding day? This is your wedding day. You're going to wear that, right? And then your mom might say, well, don't spend too much money. You shouldn't spend. But really, you're not going to make an offering to the church? Really? Your grandmother was married in that church. You were baptized in that church. Don't you love Father Simon, the priest? He was there. All of these things, right? And that's why you wind up spending an arm and a leg. It's because you're trying to appease your family. Like, it's your mom. Like, weddings have big cultural significance, right? It's not just about you getting to wear your fairy tale dress, right? It's about you trying to manage cultural expectations with your family, right? And trying to get on with your family.
Super chats. Let me get to some super chats real quick before we dig into this. Okay.
Okay.
$2 from Adarius. Thank you for the $2. No message or anything. Appreciate the money. $2 from Testicle Johnson. Thoughts on gender reveal parties? Well, isn't this kind of the same thing though? Isn't it to kind of appease family things? Are you guys planning?
We had some drama in my family about a gender reveal party.
What do you mean?
It was really funny. So, okay, my cousin and her mom have never gotten along that well, okay? And my cousin wouldn't tell her mom the gender of the baby before the gender reveal party. And she was furious. She was like, I am your mother. I deserve special access to the information. Like, you're going to make me wait like all those other peasants who just have to wait. And she didn't go to the party. Like, she straight up did not go to the party because she was so mad. And it was honestly funny because it was really simple. Like, they opened up a box and like pink or blue balloons came out. She's had a boy and a girl, so I literally don't remember which kid this was for. So I literally don't remember if the balloons were pink or blue. But the balloons didn't go out. Like, I don't know what was wrong, but they had to like open the box
Means it's
and then like manually.
By the rules of gender, it means they're non-binary now. So that's what it means. That's the rule. I don't make the rules. I'm just enforcing the rules. I'm curious. Like, are you all planning? Well, first of all, anyone here planning on having kids?
I am.
I totally want kids.
No kids for you. Why not, Julie? I'm curious. You don't have to answer.
I've never had a desire to care for a child ever. I'm not interested.
Fair enough.
They're sticky and they're stupid.
You know what? Low key agree. But I wanted to ask two things, right? How much access, or I guess how much do you plan on making your larger family part of the child's life? And should grandparents, uncles, aunts, people outside of the immediate family have any rights or access to a child, right? Like, if your grandparents and you were estranged, okay, but you have their only grandchild, should the grandparents have any sort of rights to the grandchild whatsoever? Like, even small, minor access? What are we thinking?
Okay, so I really want my parents to play an active role in my kid's life because I have a super healthy relationship with my parents. Love them. And like growing up, my grandparents were always really positive for me. But like my boyfriend and his mom do not talk. He never intends to talk to her ever again. And like he intends for her to have no role whatsoever in the kid's life. And in my opinion, it's extremely justified. Like, I'm not going to get into his shit, but it's like so aggressively fair that he does not want this person in his life. And like, I think that's fine. Like, yeah, she's going to be the paternal grandmother, but like, who the fuck cares?
Look, let's take abuse and all these like these kind of other cases where it's clearly okay, this person should have no access, right? Let's set those aside off the table. I'm just talking about like just in a normal a normal kind of family setting, if you will, right? Should grandparents or should a parent be, is it moral for you to just say, nah, I don't want the grandparents involved in life. I just don't like my parents, so they don't get access to my kid at all. Is that moral? Is that right? Okay.
I mean, I think that you are the parent, so ultimately it's your decision how to raise your kids. Like, they are your kids, they're not your parents' kids. So I do think it's your right to do that. I don't think it's wrong, like you're doing something within the bounds of your rights. But I do think that it's preferable, though, to have grandparents and to have extended family involved. I know that, like, I come from a really big family, and I have lots of brothers and sisters. I know that I really missed my grandparents and my cousins and my aunts and my uncles, because we moved a lot growing up because our family was military. And I know that that was something, and it's not because we didn't want to be with our extended family. It was simply because we moved around quite a bit. And so I know, like, for myself, it was always something that I had always wished that for myself. And it's something that I've always wanted for my own kids. And because I have a good relationship with my family right now, I want my kids to have access to their grandmother and to their grandpa. You know, I want them to babysit, you know, and not just because, and partially just for selfish reasons, you know, because I still need my mom. As embarrassing as that is to say, I mean, not for like resources or anything like that, but you know, I will still pick up the phone and call my mom and ask her, hey, do I put bleach in with regular Tide in the dishwasher? You know, is it okay? Do I put, like, one time I asked her, do I put Dawn's soap in the dish? No, not bleach. I sorry, with the washing machine. You know, I will still ask her really dumb questions like that. Like, I still need my mom's help, and I know that I'm still going to rely on her and ask her lots of dumb questions like that when I have my kids. And so I think it's good. You know, I think it's good for kids to be able to have access to their grandparents, ideally, barring any, you know, extreme abuse situation or like something bad that's happened. Generally speaking, I think it's good to be involved with a wider connected web of family members.
Hi, Millie.
Hey,
The
Millie.
white woman
What's
spell
up, Fairy
is
Queen?
super effective.
Hi.
I've summoned even more. It just keeps growing. The council keeps growing. What's up, Millie? Oh.
Not much, not much. This is a good topic for you to talk about. Being a mother and having gone through this. I got a lot of opinions on this. So for the longest time, my husband's parents, they couldn't stand me. They hated me, and then it switched after a while to now we're fighting with my parents, and his parents we're good with. But when it comes to rights of the grandparents, I don't believe grandparents have any inherent right to my children. They are my children. They are not theirs. So as much as I can sit there and say I love you, like, you know, you guys, they watch them or whatever, they don't have any rights when it comes to, like, say, like, punishing my kids. My parents believe that they have every right to spank my kids, and I've told them no, absolutely not. You have no right to do that. You can put them in timeout, you can teach them, and you can tell them the things that they're doing wrong, but you have no right to touch my children in any inappropriate manner. The rights to be able to see them, they see them when me and my husband choose that they can see them. They can contact us and ask them, and we can absolutely talk about that. But the right to see them, if as long as you respect me and my household and my children's, then yeah, I have no problem. But the moment that you disrespect that, everything's out the window. I don't care if we're related by blood or not. You disrespect myself or my kids.
Well, let me ask you this, because I'm not sure if I agree with this take entirely. I mean, I agree with it in principle. Like obviously, I don't think that grandparents or anyone should be hitting children, right? That's
no, absolutely
straight up.
not. Yeah.
But I wanted to explore, like, say if you and your parents have a falling out. But your parents have already developed a relationship with your child, right? Like,
sure.
Child's 10, 11, 12, the child knows the score. The child likes grandparents too. Is that
Mhm.
fair? Just because you and your parents have had a falling out and dislike each other, even don't want to see each other anymore, is that fair to the kid to deprive them of that connection?
So it really depends on the situation, right? If it's something that solely just
Mhm.
affects me and the relationship between my parents, then no. But if it's something that involves, say for example, they affect like my household income, and that's not going to only affect me, but that's also going to affect my children. And it's a continuous behavior where I know I can no longer trust them around me in my household, because I have to remember, even though things may hurt my children, I still have to remember that I'm the one that's going to protect my child, or my children, and do what's best for them. It may hurt them in some cases, but what I'm doing now is making sure that they're protected in the long run. So these are the hard decisions that you have to make as a parent. um, they absolutely have relationships with them, and I know they care about them, but during that point you have to sit down with your child and explain to them. You don't have to go into full detail, but you need to explain to your child, because they have some at the ages of like 10, 11, 12, they have comprehension skills. But you can explain to them a level of like, look, for this time being or for here on out, you can make the decision when you get older, but this is X, Y, and Z why we're not going over there and visiting him anymore. Even currently now, I have limited communications with my own parents because my own father disrespected my children. That's not something that he's going to be allowed to be permitted to do. Absolutely not. If you're going to disrespect my children, then you will no longer have a life with them. And I know it hurts my kids. I know it hurts my daughter, but I'm not going to risk her being hurt, or or the rest of my household being hurt, just so she can visit them.
Hmm. Any thoughts from the rest of you? I'm going to remind everyone, gang, that this isn't a panel, so to speak. This is the White Woman Council. We have summoned them together. It's a call-in show. So if you have thoughts, or if you want to have a topic, it doesn't have to be about this. You want to talk to us, come talk to the white women, okay? Summon them. I've gathered them together. So yeah, join the Discord, jump backstage, and we'll pull you in and we'll talk to you. It's the Wiccan Council? Kind of, I guess.
Wiccan Council.
The Wiccan Council. I don't know about that, but fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. I don't like your antics, so I don't, don't like them, don't watch. I don't know. But yeah, what do you think? What do you think of that? Like, is it under what conditions is it okay? Do we agree with Millie here? Do we agree with Wick, or not Wick? Do we agree with Millie on this? That
Yeah.
if someone's disrespecting you to a certain extent, it's okay to just remove their access to your children.
Again, I think that like what Millie said, like specifically what the situation is, I think that matters, right? I think that like what Millie's talking about, she's talking about something, a very serious situation, right? Like I don't think any of us would remove like access from our children for a light reason, right? It would have to be like for a very big and consequential reason, like why we would remove that access, right? So I think like, and I think that that's what she was implying, like when she said that, right? I don't think any of us here would just willy-nilly, throw grandpa out the window, right? Because he didn't like the green bean casserole
I don't
night.
think, look, I'll be real. I don't think maybe because you are all the good ones, okay? But I have known people, parents, men and women, in the past who would absolutely do this. It's something that's happening right now with some family members, right? That I've seen it. I've told you all the story how I got my sister kicked my mom out on Christmas because she was using it as a tool to punish my mom because my mom.
I was about to say, if you're using the kids as bargaining chips, like as a
that's
tool,
absolutely
that's
what
a
was
problem.
happening. Yeah,
but that's clearly not what Millie was talking about, and
Yeah. No, it's if you have noticed that
Sorry to
someone in your
interrupt you,
life
Wick.
has continuously been has continuously been toxic, and brings no value into your life, even if they are related to you, why keep them around if they're only going to harm you and your family? What is the point then to keep them around? Do you do it just because you have a family bond and that's
I think
it?
that that does matter. Like, I will tolerate more from my family than I would a stranger. Like, I will tolerate more from someone who is my brother, my sister,
Sure.
my mother, my kid, right? Well,
Yeah,
does
but
this
at what
apply?
point do
Let
you
me ask you,
stop,
Millie.
right?
Does this apply to
Yeah.
your kids? What if your kid disrespects you? Do you cut off access with them? They're making your life trouble, right? Under what conditions do you just kick them out?
So this is why I said, like, it depends on the situation.
Okay.
If my kids are grown adults, they're out living their own life.
Yeah, they're
Obviously, I'm not
20.
going to do that
Let's say they're 20.
when they're in my
Yeah.
Sure. They're 20 years old and they harm someone, or they take someone's life, like something to the extreme. Then there may be a point where I would have to sit down and it would hurt. And I could say I would think this way, but I won't really know unless that situation happens, because they are my babies and I love them to death. I mean, I carried them for 9 months, and I've raised them. But I could sit here and say, yeah, absolutely. Like, if they did something horrendous, I would maybe. But again, it would depend on what's the context within the situation, what actually happened. And I'm sure whenever I've decided to remove myself and my family from my parents' life, I'm sure it's hurt them. But they have realized that I've become my own adult and I've made my own choices. And they have to now live with whatever actions and the consequences that come from those actions. And now they have to deal with it. They can't force me to go to my room and sit in there anymore. They can't force me to listen to them anymore. I am an adult and I can make my own choices now.
Allison.
And they have to live with that just as much as I would have to live with that if I made a choice that ended up having them leave my own life.
Allison, when you get back, I'll ask you the question, but you have to do your thing, so I'll ask you.
I can still hear you. I'm getting another white woman
but,
drink.
Fair enough. Fairy Queen, I'll ask you instead then.
Okay.
Because I'm curious. When do you think it's okay for a parent to disown a child? Do you think it's ever okay? Under what conditions? When can a parent be like, nah, I don't care if you're my kid. You're done. We're cutting you out.
I think it would have to be for a very extreme reason. Your kid would have to have done something like beyond the pale to someone else. That's what I think would have had to have happened. And by that I mean, like, as Millie mentioned, like, if he's like if your kid is a serial killer, or if you find out that, like, you have been housing Jeffrey Dahmer in your basement.
What if they do a lot of TikToks, right? Just like really cringe TikToks.
Okay, what are we talking? Cringe
Banished
TikToks.
I'm talking like, you've seen those TikToks where they pretend to be like the intimacy TikTok. Have you ever seen those? No. Intimacy TikTok where they're like, they'll do this thing. Okay, I'll do it for you, ladies, just for you.
Wait, are you talking about?
It's literally worse than the NPC streamer stuff.
They'd be like,
is this the video of you on TikTok, on Twitter, that was on there recently?
No, that's NPC. That's NPC talk.
Oh,
that's different. Okay. Intimacy talk is when you pretend like that you're in a relationship with your viewer and you're like, quickly, we don't have much time. I pulled you out of the family gathering. And they might come and see us, and then they like do kissy noises at the camera and stuff and these things. What if your kid was doing that? Like, they're 18, right? It's not illegal or anything, but they're doing some cringe shit like that. Do you think it's okay to be like, get out of my house?
Okay. No. I don't know if anybody else has takes on this, but I've made some pretty cringe content. I've dressed up in a cow suit before, and poured milk on myself. So I mean, I couldn't really like sit there and be like, oh my god, you're so terrible, you're making cringe content. Like, no, obviously not. But it would be funny. I would make fun of them and joke and banter just as much as they do the same thing back. But that's just the kind of household that we have. So
okay, so obviously like the serial killer examples, like, clearly. But I mean, even like less extreme stuff, like I've known people who had to cut off their kids that were dealing with like intense substance abuse problems, like specifically meth addiction, and like stuff like that. Like, after a certain point, you basically become an enabler if you don't kick your kid out. So, I mean, I can see examples that are like less severe than serial killing, where you got to cut them off until they change.
Ice beans.
Oh,
Welcome to
Hello,
the
hello.
White Woman Council. You are an
Hi
honorary white
guys.
woman for the day.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh man, I've always wanted to be a white woman. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm giving out the passes. Okay. I guess question for you: under what conditions is it okay to cut off a child? Be like, nope, we're not having anything to do with each other anymore. We're done. We're assuming the child is an adult. They no longer rely on you, or they know they're 18 at least, right? And let's set the serial killer shit off the table for now, right? We all understand if they're going around killing cereal, it's bad, wrong, get them off. Yeah, can you give us some less extreme examples of when you'd be like, no?
Like less extreme examples of me cutting off a child.
Yes, where you would tell your child to get out of my house. I'm no longer going to deal with you anymore. You are no longer welcome in my life.
I mean, I think they'd have to do some pretty serious shit to begin with, but like also I think that I can see it being a thing that I'd do if there was like repeated boundary stomping or something like that. I think it would be something that I would be open to doing, although it would suck, I'm sure. I don't have kids, but I can imagine that that would suck. But I would say boundary stomping, honestly. Like repeated boundary stomping.
Can you give us an example of that?
So I mean, okay, I say this as like I say this as someone who's been in therapy for this kind of stuff, basically, and having to like compartmentalize my different areas of my life and stuff, and especially the parts that are kind of harmful. And so I have certain people in my life where, you know, I have a boundary. We don't talk about this. If we do talk about this, it has to be in these specific like ways, or it has to be kind of like respectful. It can't like devolve into lecturing or whatever else. And if that boundary isn't respected, then you know, I'm just going to end the conversation. So I would apply that if I had a boundary like that for anyone. Let's say my child was causing me trauma, right? And I had a boundary like that with them. If they kept violating it, yeah, I would definitely go like some kind of low contact or no contact.
Like, what if your kid was like stealing from you, like stealing money over and over and over again? Like, I can imagine things.
Yeah, I'd say that would definitely have to depend on their age.
Oh yeah, for
we're
sure.
like still in their teens. No. A lot of circumstances, like say you're divorced, I would probably, if I was divorced and you know my kids are in teen years, I'd be like, you can go stay with your dad. Like, obviously something's not going on, right? But if we're not, I'm still with my husband, and my kids are older, and then they start stealing from me. Like, we would take every avenue to try and get them the help and try and prevent them. As well as making sure that the actions we take as the parents in the household to mitigate the problem. But if they were an adult and they were, let's say they're 20 years old, like Whick said, and they're living in my house and they're constantly stealing, they would absolutely get the boot out of my house. Does that mean I would stop contact with them? No. I could easily still talk to them over the phone, or text message or whatever it is. And have them come over to my house, but be supervised throughout the entire time. But if they're continuously stealing my possessions for their benefit, then absolutely not. That would not be permitted. There are many different avenues that you can take to try and like help these things. And you just have to take into account your situation, everything that's going on, and try and do the best actions that work for you and your family.
If we all kind of agree, and it sounds like we do, that the bar for cutting off a child is rather high, like they'd have to be doing some pretty horrendous stuff, right? Or boundary stomping, stealing, it's got to be up there. Do we have that same standard for cutting off a parent? And why is it different? Is it different?
I think it's different because of your like unique response. Like if you yourself are a parent, like I can think
Uh-oh.
kids are not, or
You're cutting out. Barry,
Oh
you're
no,
roboting.
Robert.
your sister.
Oh
maybe.
no, the white woman spell's failing. I have to re-up it. Oh, 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜. White women, I summon you. Okay, there you go.
That was the
Welcome
whitest
back.
shit ever, so it worked.
Back.
Am I back? Am I back? Okay, perfect.
It works because Wick's white too. So
Right.
yeah.
Roger, that's not your bed.
Absolutely. I guess I was saying I think it's different because it depends on whether or not you are responsible for other people within your family. So if you are a parent, or even if you're not a parent, if you are responsible for the caretaking of a younger brother or sister, right? Or for a cousin, or for if you're somebody who has a leadership role within your family in some degree, you're responsible for other people, right? The reason why I think there's a higher degree of like why it's higher for like a bar for your child.
Yeah, because
you have a
again, to remind
responsibility.
you, in this situation, we're not talking about someone who is a child. Like we're talking about someone who's 18 plus that we're cutting off. So all of us would agree that it's different because you have direct responsibility when they're under 18 and living in your house. We're talking
Yeah,
about cutting off people who aren't in your current remit.
Well,
Oh, sorry, Fairy Queen. Go ahead.
Finish
sorry.
finish Fairy, then Ice Queen. Ice Queen will go next.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, even beyond 18, even when you're not technically responsible, you're not legally accountable for them anymore. It's still often the case that many parents will still provide help for their kids and will still be a respite for their children, for their adult children, even after they've gone on, they support themselves, right? It's like I was saying before, I still pick up the phone and call my mom and ask her how to do laundry, right? Or I ask her about, what kind of food should I eat or where should I go? I still depend on my mom emotionally, right? So even though I don't technically need her to support myself, I still very much need my mom and am still in another sense very dependent upon my mom, and probably will continue to be so for the rest of my life, not in an unhealthy way, but in the sense that I still have that relationship, right? And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's true for many kids, for many people who are adult children, right? I think it's true for many adults. They still continue to rely upon their parents for that relationship.
Is this
and
true?
For that
Raise your hand.
mentorship.
Raise your hand if you're comfortable, if you rely on your parents in that way.
I do.
I do not.
Okay. Why not, Julie? What's different? And do you wish you did?
Well, I went into foster care when I was like 15, so
Fair. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Moving on. Millie, why is it different with you?
I just don't need to really depend on my parents if there's something going on in my household or something that I don't know. One, I have the internet. I could look it up, figure it out on my own. Two, I make sure that I have the willingness and capability of wanting to learn something new. So I don't have to depend on other people. The only person I should really have to depend on in the household is my husband, and he should depend on me as well. That's why we're here for each other. And if I can't take care of my own household without having to run back and forth to my parents, I don't think I'm doing my job properly as a mother and a wife.
Ice Beans, can you answer those allegations? Why are you not doing your job properly as a wife?
Okay, listen, I'll say that. Yeah, I'll say that. As a certified, okay, so I'm gonna use this term. It's self-referential. Probably not applicable to most people. It's like the brown people version of calling someone an Oreo. I'm basically a coconut, where I look brown, but there's a good part of me that's white inside, right?
You are on the White Woman Council.
I am on the White Woman Council. There you go.
It's true.
So I actually do. I do call my mom quite a lot and say, "Hey, I need to make this curry. How do you do it?" Because I watched you do it 1,000 times, but I still don't remember. I apart from that, I am not at the point where I rely on them for specific, most things, right? But I think that something else that Fairy Queen was kind of getting at as well is that I think that parents have, even even if they don't have a direct responsibility for the child after they turn 18 or whatever, there could be a situation where they do, or where like your parent is like your backup if anything, like if shit hits the fan, your parent might be like the last resort, right, where you move back to. But also, like, I feel like and maybe this is for parents to answer. I feel like parents, even after their kids are grown up or whatever, they still feel like they're responsible for their child.
Mhm.
Like, let's say their child does turn out to be a serial killer, right? Like, for the rest of their life, the parent would probably be like, what did I do wrong, right? Even though, theoretically, they couldn't have done, they probably didn't do anything wrong.
Well, they probably didn't do anything right if their parents, like, I'm going to be real with you. I do judge the parents for what a child does, especially if it's horrendous like that. I do think parents have some responsibility for how their kid turns out. And if your kid turns out to be a serial killer, maybe you didn't do anything wrong, but you didn't do anything right either. Like, you should, it sucks, but I mean, it is what it is. Maybe it's a hot take. I don't know.
I do want to make a clarification on the statement I made earlier. The depending on parents, when I think on that, it's like calling my mom and dad to be like, oh, how do I set up an appointment? Or I need you to do that for me. Or I need you to pay my bills for me. Like these things that a normal, you would think a normal typical adult can handle. If you're calling them to be like, hey, can I get your recipe for the cookies that you've made growing up? I love them and I want to share them with my kids and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that's a whole different case. Like you're not just going to learn how to do that just out of the blue. For like these kind of things. But if I'm running to get my car fixed every time and I run to my dad to be like, Daddy, I need you to do this for me. Please take care of me. Like that. Like, I think regardless if you're a man or a woman, you should be able to make sure you know how to handle these things appropriately. Like if you're trying to like change your oil, right? Or change a tire. I think anybody should be able to know how to do that. And having to run your parents to do that every time for you, like I think that's it's a little childish. Your parents should take action to make sure that you know these things. They teach you how to live life when you become an adult. That's my job as a parent, that I have to teach my children. I think every parent should do that. That's the whole point. We prepare our kids to go out into society so they can handle themselves and deal with things.
Okay, I'm gonna reach out to the audience here for a minute because I want something here and I'm not getting it here, and I need maybe someone to help me get this.
You have a person backstage.
Who? WolfGlen?
Temperance. Temperance is showing up for me.
Okay. Well, the White Woman Council is just growing, which is fine. But I'm mostly looking towards the men in my audience for this.
Okay.
Men, I need someone to come challenge the White Woman Council. I need someone to come not as to seek audience, but to seek redress from the White Woman Council. Temperance, you are hot micing. If you can mute yourself or something, we're getting a lot of ambient noise from.
You may have to just mute him.
Okay. I don't want to, but I will. Hopefully they can figure it out. And we can unmute her in a moment. Her camera's having a problem, but yes, we need a caller inner, if you will, to deal with this. Let's see if I can unmute. Okay.
Deal with this.
Yes, to deal with. There's too many. Okay, we need a champion. 𝕖𝖓. 𝕖𝖓, are you the champion? Temperance, you're still hot micing.
Hot micing, but not actual micing.
Yeah, we can't actually hear you. If you're
we can't hear you talk, Temperance.
Julie, I love your microphone. I just noticed it.
Oh, thank you.
Is that a Gumby?
It is Gumby.
That's amazing. I just noticed it too.
Did you tell us about this microphone while we wait for a brave young man soul to come in and challenge these ladies, okay?
I don't know where this gummy came from. I don't remember buying it. I don't remember where I found it. But someone in my chat loved it.
Or not, but I can't hear you, so I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong here.
We can hear you now.
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us? Okay, can one of my mods go backstage and help Temperance? I'm going to move you out for a moment. Okay, hopefully... Oh, did we lose more people? Okay, anyway, Fairy Queen, we lost your camera too, by the way. Oh, you're just moving your own.
Yeah, just give me a second. I'm going to go to the bathroom and come back and just...
Irrelevant! You're perfect! Come on, challenge these white women.
Okay, 1 second. I'll be right back.
Okay, I casted Summon White Woman. It was too effective. I had a critical success, and now I need something to balance the scales. Okay.
I like Sock's take. They're women, so they're inherently wrong.
They're women, so they're inherently wrong. Okay, what? Okay, while we wait, I'm curious. What's your so we all know there's sexist jokes out there. There's misogynistic jokes. But are there any that are like super funny to you? Like any that you actually like? Okay, that was really good. I'm curious. What's your favorite sexist joke? And we'll start with you, Millie.
The pumpkin spice latte. I don't think I've ever had
the
one.
Meme,
but it's always so funny. I'm like, I'm sure it's good, but it's not something to like have to go into Starbucks every fucking day to get. Like,
what do you think, Ice Beans? What's your favorite misogynist joke?
Jeez. Okay, I'm gonna sound this is gonna sound weird, but I feel like it does depend on the context, because I actually do enjoy a bit of misogynistic humor, as long as like it's not super derogatory. So I'm trying to think of a specific one.
Can you give us an example? Yeah, can you give us an example?
You'll have to come back to me in a second. I'll probably just ask my husband what we tend to like.
Of course you would. Yeah, like let me ask my husband what the most misogynistic joke is. And yeah, we'll see how that works out for him. I'm curious. What do you think, Allison? What's your favorite misogyny?
It's hard to think of an example. I mean, okay, so
SAC is like really not helping the women aren't funny stereotype. Fair enough.
Wait, I was about to say the women aren't funny stereotype, because like, okay, there are some funny women, right? Like, I love 30 Rock. Tina Fey wrote that. Okay, Mean Girls was a good movie, right? But like, there are some female comedians that just actually suck, and I don't know. Well, I don't even remember. Her first name's Amy, and it's not Parks and Rec Amy. It's Amy Schumer. Is that her name?
Yeah, Schumer.
Yeah, I don't think she's very funny, and she was like the most popular female comedian there for a while, and I was like, oh, this is not a good look. I don't know. Women being bad at driving, that's funny to me.
Fair enough. Julie, come on. What's your favorite misogyny?
I was playing League the other day, and I said my favorite part of the game was buying things in the shop. So
women be shopping. Fair enough. Fairy Queen, what you got?
I do have a good joke if you want to hear it. It's very misogynistic.
Well, let's give Fairy Queen a chance, and then yes, I do want to hear your misogynistic joke. Fairy might be busy. Pass on her for now.
Okay.
But what do you got for us, joke-wise?
Okay. How do you talk to a waitress who has 2 black eyes? Slow and clearly, because obviously she doesn't listen.
Oh no.
I didn't say it. It's not me. I didn't do it. It wasn't my joke, gang. It wasn't my joke.
No.
Hey, well, we have the anathema, white women anathema here today with us. Irrelevant. Hi, welcome.
Hello.
You are appearing before the White Woman Council. How do you plead?
I'm black. If any of you insult me, you will be banned on Twitter within 24 hours.
Do it. Do it. No balls.
So now I've gathered some women together, right? I know you and Darius do a show together sometimes where you have women, but this is a different class of women. These are the type of women that wouldn't give Darius the type of time of day. Okay, so normal women. So I'm giving you this opportunity, this chance to ask anything you'd like, right? If you have questions, if you want to know how women operate. I know you've had some troubles in the past, right? But maybe this can help you out. Maybe we can solve some problems for you. So what you got? What kind of questions do you have? And ladies, if you have questions for an incel, we have one here with us today.
Yeah, why are you an incel?
Wait, you're not, I don't believe it.
I kind of am, yeah.
Why?
Kind of, like half.
Is it like self-implemented, or is it because of the women in your life?
I would say it's almost entirely self-implemented. Like,
well, that's not involuntary.
Huh?
That's not involuntary. Self-implemented.
Well,
So like a ball cell?
It's that there'd be a significant amount of work that would take to be able to get to the point where in which I could realistically have like relationships or sexual relationships that I'm building up that work, but I'm just not there yet. So it's like I recognize that work needs to be done, and I haven't like gotten to the end of that path yet.
I thought the whole point of being an incel was that it was involuntary.
Yeah, it's not voluntary right now, but I'm built. So like right now, I think my issue is I have really bad social skills, and I can't just change that overnight. I have to build, like, it's a multi-year long process to build social skills.
So you're just working on yourself. So you're not an incel. You're just working on yourself.
Well, yeah.
Like, okay, if you had an opportunity to actually have a relationship with a woman, right? Would you do that right now, or would you say like, "Oh, I'm scared of fucking it up because of my social skills"? And therefore,
what do you mean if I had like a date?
Sure. Let's start with that.
I mean, yeah, I'd probably try. Yeah.
Okay. You wouldn't like say, "Oh, I feel like I'm gonna fuck it up," and then not.
No, I definitely feel like I'm almost certain I'll fuck it up, but I'll try because that's XP.
Okay. Yeah, then I would say that's more vol cell, right, than incel, but yeah, I can understand.
I mean, I'm just recognizing that after. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't actually think I'm an incel. It's kind of a joke.
Are you leveling up?
Yeah, it's fucking XP. Am I wrong? It's not. It's fucking XP. like, hello? That's all terms we can all understand, right?
You're leveling up for the boss, right? Is that it?
Yeah. The raid boss is getting a girlfriend. True. Yes.
Was it boss girl or girl boss? You're waiting for your girl boss.
Yes, for the girl boss. Yes, you're getting it. Yes. I like this. Give us the terminology. Something everybody can understand.
An independent black woman.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Relevant. Yeah. Why do you think you will fuck it up? Like, what is it that happens specifically? Is there a specific kind of faux pas that usually happens, or is it something specific, or is it just something in general?
I have what the boys call interview riz. Okay, what is an interview riz? It's where I just ask questions over and over again, and it gets nowhere. So let's say I'm trying to riz you up. All right, are you ready? You ready for the ultimate riz? What do you do for work?
I'm a teacher. I work as a GED teacher at a local school district, and I'm a graduate teaching assistant.
That's cool. How'd you get into that?
Well, I moved to my state so I could do my program, and I needed some extra money, so I got my job.
Oh, really? So where'd you move from? Like this is you're understanding the vibe, right? You're getting the vibe. Are we getting the vibe?
Like really good. What do you mean?
Yeah,
it's actually really good.
I mean, I feel like there are people who fucking love to talk about themselves, though, and that wouldn't go over as poorly with like a sizable amount of people as you might expect.
Well, women love talking about themselves. I don't know. I mean,
I've yet
asking them questions is great.
Very successful on.
So, irrelevant. If we're having like outside of that, you're having a normal conversation with everybody else here. Why not just do this with like a person you're on a date with? You know, just talk about whatever comes to mind. You know,
pretend it's a work panel
because it's a panel. We have an entry point. We have something that we, already have in common. If I like if I just met you, I just know you're like, what the fuck are we going to talk about? Like, I don't know you. I don't know what the fuck to talk about. That's where the interview risk comes out. I don't know shit about you, but we're here. We're on a goddamn WhickTV panel. Okay, we're on a goddamn WhickTV panel.
Why wouldn't you just ask the same questions that you did now?
We're a little bit dangerous. What?
Why wouldn't you just ask the same questions that you did just now? Like, what do you do for work? Oh, what
I
got
do.
you into work? Like,
It just usually results. It doesn't go anywhere.
Mm.
Okay, but yeah, that's the whole point of like dating someone, is trying to figure out whether you have any commonalities with them. And if you don't, that's fine. They're just not the person for you. You move on, find the next one. Like, yeah,
that kind of gets to the next problem, is I don't really have very much in common with like most women, I think.
So you're very special.
Huh?
So you're special. You're not like the rest of us.
Oh yes, of course. I'm very quirky. Yeah.
Really? How often do you like how often do you do things like so it's like something that I always recommend to people. I'm not recommending necessarily for you. I'm just saying that whenever people talk about this kind of thing, I think they're always thinking about like, I don't know, approaching random women in bars or whatever, right? But how often do you do things like for example, like board game nights or something like that?
Fucking never.
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 I would say that's those are places to have. Those are places that already, like you said, like kind of like this panel situation. It like enables you to meet more people, and it also gives you a point to like kind of fall back on if you are running out of the questions. You know, like what games have you played? Like, you know, what's your favorite type of? I don't know, fucking know.
So
yeah.
I have commonalities. Like the me and my husband like love going and like collecting Pokemon cards, playing Yu-Gi-Oh, all sorts of stuff. So we try and make sure that we do things together, even if it's just like sitting down on the couch and having a conversation with each other. We just try and make sure that we spend time with each other. And there are moments where I'm going to go off and do my own things because it's something that he doesn't like to do. Like say PC games. I love to play on the computer. He's more of like a console kind of guy.
Let me translate perhaps, if you don't mind. Okay. I'll translate a little bit into relevant speak. Okay.
Okay.
They're talking about quests. You're doing a joint quest. You're going on a quest together. Okay. So you need multiple people. It's a group quest. Okay. So you need multiple people, at least one other person, to complete the objective of the quest, and that can be used as a basis to which to build a relationship on. Combine that with your interview rizz, right? And kind of just use it to build kind of a bond. I don't know. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah. So I've gotten advice multiple different times to be able to seek activities that a lot of women might be participating in, to be able to make organic connections with women and have kind of a common interest to be able to jump off of, which is like a great idea. It's just that there's do you guys hear that?
That sounds great. Sounds like somebody's having a great time over there.
Yeah.
What is he doing? Is he okay?
Oh, no.
I think he's on Tinder. I think he's having a bad time with it.
Okay.
I think he's
really? It sounded like he was winning. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. He's doing something, but it's also tough when your wingman is like that. So,
maybe find a new one.
Yeah. I need to. We're working on it.
Okay.
Sorry, what I was saying is that one of the issues is that I don't want to join a club explicitly to just talk to women, because I think that's going to like kind of create like really big problems with how I'm interacting with that group. And outside of like meeting women, I don't want to do any of these activities anyway. I'd rather just be at home playing games with my friends. So it's kind of hard. I probably should do these things, but yeah, it's just.
Well, do you really want to be with someone? Have you ever considered that maybe you just don't want to be with someone?
Yeah, I've considered that.
Like, is that a yes or no?
No, I
quite that dire. there are video game. Maybe the problem is like
that is a possibility.
Well, it is a possibility, but it's also possible that maybe you should find women that are just or are organically interested in the same things that you are, right? So video games, so gamer girls, right? So going to spaces like unironically like this, right? And finding women who are single, and then instead of like having the interview rizz, right? Like you just organically meet people, and you meet people who are single. You talk. You talk.
You have to be hyper selective whenever you go into like the Twitch sphere to try and find somebody to date. I've seen a lot of them go and crash and burn. So
Yeah, so
I don't know if that's
that
the best
issue.
idea.
There's also another issue where a lot of women who are like online who play like video games are bombarded with like attention, both positive and very negative. And I don't really want to contribute towards that negative like attitude, that negative like vibe by just like putting myself out there and be like, hey, how whatever. Because I've been told by multiple different people, just don't message me unless we're like collaborating or something. Just don't message, like as a broad statement. And I don't want to be like, okay, I hear you, but I don't care, and I'm just gonna message you anyway. Like I don't want to do that.
I think a lot of women would prefer if it happens organically. They don't want it like, hey baby, you look hot. I want you to like, come do something with my willy or whatever, right? Like the nasty stuff some men will say in the DMs.
That sounds like something he would say. I'm just totally kidding.
Oh, my roommate, you're confusing.
Would it? No, but if it happens organically, obviously you're gonna have women that are so far up their own asses. They're like, I'm too good for you. Like, don't talk to me. Like, yeah, then don't talk to those bitches. They're not worth your time. But if you can talk to someone that's organic and it happens organically, then that's perfectly okay. It depends on like where you're looking,
really
right?
Difficult though, right? Like, how do I find an organic way to talk to a woman who plays?
If you happen to be in a game and you hear a woman in there and you're not like, oh my god, how hot are you? Like, can I see a picture? Like, if you just talk to her like, yo, how you enjoying the game? Shit like that. And like, if she responds and engages in the conversation, then absolutely.
I think the last time I heard a woman in VC, it was like 10 years ago in a video game. Because I just don't.
Okay, then what?
Because I play very like male-dominated video games.
Sure,
half of them don't even have VC.
Yeah, it depends on the location that you're going into and looking, right? Like if you're gonna go to the desert to try and find like forest mushrooms, you're obviously not gonna find them.
I want to give I want to give some space to Julie and to Ice Beans here. I wonder what advice you would have given this conversation that we're having. Julie, right? When you have someone like Relly come up and they're asking for advice, what advice do you give them when it comes to me? Do you have any advice for them?
I don't have good advice because I also don't know what to do.
That is unironically, most people don't know what to do. When it comes to especially younger people, they don't know what they're doing. No one knows what they're doing. And I think, at least from my perspective, this fear of doing it wrong is the mind killer. It's what's getting in your way. So you've said multiple times during this discussion, even this short discussion, that, well, I don't want to be the kind of guy that perpetuates these stereotypes. I don't want to be this type of guy that does this type of way. You don't have to. You can still approach women. You could do it in a way that's not creepy. I promise it's possible, right? But this fear of being creepy is making it kind of creepy, if that makes sense.
Well, I think I know what you're talking about, but there's a pretty big issue that kind of comes about, which is that you can't divorce yourself from that, and the other individual can't know your intentions. So I might have like an otherwise normal and completely benign conversation with somebody that is perfectly fine, but in certain contexts, it's just not fine because people find these things to be like off limits. Like an example might be, I talked to somebody in a normal fashion at the gym, right? And then like later, I'm like, hey, maybe we should do something after the gym. And that's just like a flat out no-go for them, because in their mind, it's just like anybody that's asking me out or for something after the gym, it's no-go. It's no good, no matter the conversation and shit like that, because they don't know my intention. They don't know anything about that or whatever. They might just think I'm trying to slide some shit like that. So
that's on them. You at least made the attempt. You did what you could, and that's fine. If they're the ones that like, oh no, I'm sorry, I don't go to the gym to look for a date, then that's perfectly fine. That's them. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about it so much. Just at least try and make the effort, because you never know when it's going to succeed.
What do you think, Ice Beans? Go ahead.
So I'll echo Julian a little bit, because like I think that people, they do tend to not know how to meet people, right? I will say that I can't really use my example, my own example as an example because I was like very boring and married my like childhood crush. But
Aw, that's cute.
it's disgustingly cute. Don't let's not get into it. But like so one of the things that so I have a friend who has been having an awful time with dating, awful time with Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, all of that shit. And they're actually about to like go out on a date with somebody that they met at work. And it was like completely unexpected for them to strike up a connection with this person. They're not like what I would call their type, if that makes sense. But they just like had a natural connection, just talking at work, commiserating with each other. So I would say that like I recognize that you probably don't want to go out into spaces just for the sole purpose of essentially looking for women, but I would just seek out those spaces with the intent of like essentially expanding what your circle is, what your world, like your comfort circle, your comfort zone, I guess. Because maybe you would actually like D&D, maybe you would like board games, maybe you would like X, Y, and Z. Because I think right now it sounds like the circles that you're in right now just don't put you in contact with women in general.
I'm gonna let you answer that. I'm gonna let you respond to that, Relly. But first, I have some paid comments to get to that the chat's been molding. So speaking of, Stasis Sublimate says, this is molding, and I'm going to seek Canadian healthcare. Relly, you are an attractive man, but words mean jack shit. Look at the behaviors that have led to successful behaviors. And Relly, while you are intelligent and attractive, what ethic relationship are you going to have if you define a successful one by being a Tarkov shut-in? Another comment.
God, my boyfriend plays Tarkov.
Another
he
comment.
loves that shit. There are no women.
Yeah. This guy is, oh, that's about me, but I'll read that anyway. Whick is the definition of creepy, and he's talking about being creepy. That's so true, King. And there was, this guy is faking being an incel for attention, like chicks who are always talking about killing themselves.
Okay, no, I know way too many guys who are like seriously very eligible bachelors, and they can't, like, I actually think the dating market just sucks right now. Like, I honestly do believe that. Like, I know, and women too, who are like so cool, they're pretty, and it's just like not happening. Like, and it's not like they're going on dates and it's going wrong. It's like they're not going on dates. And Whick, I heard you talk about this with, I don't remember who, but it's like there are more and more places where it just becomes like taboo to strike up a conversation or talk to them. Like work and the gym were specifically mentioned. That's unfortunate. Like, I don't really have a solution, but that just like sucks, and it does make it harder. So yeah, I didn't mean to accuse you of lying, but like, you don't look like an incel, not to be weird. So it's like, what?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I had decent social skills, I think I would be incredibly successful with women. I think the biggest barrier for men in dating is social skills. I think if you have really good social skills, you're set. I think that's the biggest barrier for guys. So whenever I hear somebody say like, "Oh, you're decent looking," it's like, okay, cool. That doesn't really mean much unless I'm like fucking unbelievably hot. I still have to put in a lot of effort. I don't think most people have to put in a lot of effort. I just don't have the social skills that a lot of people have to be able to get with.
What are these social skills that you don't have? Because you keep saying this, right? But yet you're handling yourself appropriately.
It's very difficult for me to make jokes unless I have an in-depth knowledge and some kind of common like camaraderie with people already. I need to know you.
Have you attempted to try and alleviate that? Like the easiest way you can go
about
it
is actively trying to do.
Learn a shit ton of like dad jokes and just start spewing those out. Doesn't even care if you like the jokes.
Don't do that.
Wait, don't
absolutely do that. It's freaking hilarious because either people are gonna actually laugh at it, or people are gonna laugh at your attempt at trying to do it, and then be like, "All right, yeah, that was a good attempt, but haha, like it didn't land." And
okay, hold on.
like,
I feel like so.
I was going to say, really, just real quick. Have you, apart from possibly Whick, have you spoken to any of us here before?
I've spoken to Julie and Allison.
Okay. But apart from that, like, I don't feel like I don't feel like you're coming off as awkward.
Yeah,
Or like,
because
or
we
like,
have common ground. We have like a common thing that we're here for. We're we have a topic
yeah.
and things like that. That it's just you straight up don't have that in like on like dating apps or otherwise like in general.
Sure, but I mean, like three people, including me, have been on a panel with like fucking Mr. Girl, and that was the most awkward shit ever.
Oh my god!
So it's not just that you're there for the common ground, right? Like it's also
yeah,
that,
sure.
it's also that you're not immediately coming off as like super creepy or like you do have some riz at least.
Yeah, sorry. When I'm talking about
conversation.
not having good social skills, I'm not saying in every arena I don't have good social skills. I think I have very good social skills when it comes to like being articulate with my ideas and things like that. There was a reason why I got into politics, talking about politics and commentary. It's because I think I'm pretty good at doing that. What I'm not good at is like, hey, I don't know you. I don't know anything about you. We don't really have any shared interests. Here's how here's a couple of jokes. My roommate is such a phenomenal example of like the opposite of what I am. He fucking sucks at articulating his opinions and his ideas. He sucks at doing these things, but he's phenomenal at not even knowing your name, but cracking all of these random jokes, references that everybody kind of intuitively gets, and being able to like go from not knowing your name to, man, I kind of want to get a drink with this guy. That kind of a thing is where I'm lacking, and that's really important to dating right now in the current market. Unless like the only realm where I feel like it can work, my stuff can work really well is if I already know you for a period of time.
Two things.
And yeah.
Two things. $10 from Testicle Johnson. The key to a woman's heart is to send her flaccid dick pics. Anyone can send a rock hard dick
that's
pic.
a great idea.
But it
Keep
shows
doing that,
both
guys.
confidence and vulnerability to send a flaccid dick pic. Advice from Testicle
Make
Johnson.
sure you have a measuring stick right next to it so she can see how small it is.
True. Second thing. I'm curious. What does success look like to you when it comes to women, to dating? Let's say. What does success look like?
You're asking me?
Yes, I'm asking you.
First of all, getting a date in the first place, getting a person to show up is always a big win. That's a big fucking win. Second of all, getting a second date, and then hopefully at that point, if you can get repetitive dates, then maybe getting in a relationship with someone. Like just literally getting a person to show up is what I would consider to be a win.
I guess what I would say, and this was a comment from Stasis Sublimate, but I'm going to reword it in a little kinder of a way. I think that if you ask 20 women out and one of them says yes, you're winning, right? The rejection is par for the course. It's standard. You expect it. It's probably going to happen more than once, right? But it's all about frequency, right? It's all about doing it over and over and over again, casting your net wide, and getting in yeses. Get the yeses, gather the yeses together, and then working with those. Don't worry about the no's. You're going to get more no's than you are yeses. So I don't know. I don't know you very well, but every time I hear you talk about this, I've heard you talk about this a lot. It's this fear that comes through of rejection, and I think you just got to set that aside. Fairy Queen, you had some stuff to say? Go ahead, and I'll let Riley respond.
I just wanted to share a little bit about, this is personal, but it's similar to like slightly similar to your situation. When like about 2 years ago, like I had a lot of trouble like meeting people, and I've had a lot of trouble dating people for a very, very long time. And in part that's because the program that I'm in,
Are you a
English.
femcel?
So no, I'm not.
Okay.
No, but I'm trying to explain. So the English department, it's a very feminized space, full of women, and even like people that like who aren't women who are there, even guys. Like it's a very feminized, very feminine space. It's the most liberal part. So it was really, really difficult for me to find men who I was interested in to date within those spaces. It was also really just difficult within my city, like with Tinder or with online dating. That never worked out for me. It didn't work out for me for exactly the reasons that you're saying, right? You have nothing in common with this person. You show up, you have the interview, right? I also did the same thing. I also had an interview list that I would go inorganically down the line, right? And I thought of dating as you go to the first date, and then you go to the second date, and then to the third date, and then 500 dates later, maybe then, you know what I mean? Like it's this whole progression thing, right? But some things that have helped me is number one, changing unironically joining the space, right? Which is full of men. So lots of single men who are roughly my own age, right? And the reason why this has helped also is because I really like talking about politics. And I'm not a huge gamer. I don't play a lot of masculine RPG shooter games, but I play Stardew Valley and I play like building games like Zoo Tycoon, and it's worked out just fine, right? I didn't need to like become a Call of Duty, Arkham Asylum, like sort of video gamer in order to make that connection with other people, right? So you don't, by contrast, you don't have to switch over to Stardew Valley and do, I don't want to say more feminine video games, but you don't have to be an inauthentic version of yourself, right? You can find ways of building that bridge organically, right? Secondly, I like to think that I'm somewhat good at talking. and at least a little bit, right? So the benefit of being within this space isn't just that like you find people that are similar to me, but for me, it's something that I'm good at, which means I'm demonstrating something that I'm good at to other people who care about it, right? So like that's something maybe to think about, like going and joining like an activity, not just something that you want to try or something that you're interested in, but something where you can, to put it bluntly, show off a little bit, where you can show off how good you are at video games, politics, literature, whatever is your thing. It might be worth it to try to join a space where there are lots of women.
Yeah, I'm going to be real with you, Relly. You have a platform. Yeah. Why are you still single? If you have a platform, you can get a girl. Just straight up.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Whoa. Hang on. Goes on stream. Somebody please go on a date with me, please.
Using your platform to try and pick up women is like
why not?
The most like dishonest way.
Why not? Wait, why is that? Hold on. Why is that dishonest?
I'm trying to explain. Like the reason why, right, is like most of the time you're only going to find women that are going to be interested because they want to get ahead in their like Twitch field or streaming or like. Try and get clout off of him because he's got quite a large from what I think I know, he's got a large platform, right?
A very large platform, ladies. Yeah, go on.
Okay.
Chill, dude.
No, I'm kind of assuming, right? I could be wrong. But if you start opening yourself up to people, then you're probably not going to get some of the people that you would want to be around you. You could get people that come to you with really bad intentions and trying to hide shit. So that's not something I would suggest. Don't use your platform to do that. And
how is that different?
Like,
how is that fundamentally different than meeting someone at a job or meeting someone because of you're really good at a skill or a hobby, or say you're very good at talking, right? Like you are showcasing your skills, your assets. Yeah, sure. You are putting them up front, but and you're saying, "Hey, this is what I got to offer."
He runs a higher risk of somebody coming on trying to use him for the platform that he has. Or if you meet someone at your job, unless you're like their boss or something, or like say you're in the military and you start dating like someone like 2 ranks higher up than you. Like, and you start, like sucking underneath that desk so you can get a promotion. Like, it's the same kind of thing. Like, you don't really want to date someone that's gonna try and use and abuse you for their own benefit.
Is that a worry you have, Relly?
Is that what?
A worry you have, Relly?
It's not as much a worry that I think that somebody might use me for clout as much as it would be like a contributing factor to the relationship, to the point where, let's say if I get banned or something, they're going to want to break up with me.
Yeah.
Like,
I the optimal thing is to just...
Is that a worry of yours? Oh, sorry, I misunderstood what you said.
Yeah, so like the idea would be that if I led with, hey, date me, I have a large Twitch following, right? I think the idea would be not necessarily that I'm going to get people who use me for that, but for people who value that as a priority. Mm-hmm. So if I lose it, then they're probably not going to stick around.
I feel like you wouldn't use the following, though, as like a selling point. You would just use it as like an access point. So you wouldn't be like hopefully attracting people that care about the follow count. You would just be using it to like get your interest out there. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Or
yeah, you could absolutely go ahead.
Or what you could do, which is the benefit of Discord, you could create an alt account, you could make a new name for yourself, and you could try to meet people and you could not tell them about your following, right? You could meet them in VCs, you could have video game with them. You wouldn't tell them about your following or about your platform, but you could still like demonstrate how good you are at talking. You could demonstrate your intelligence. You could talk about common interests that you have. And that way, and if you guys get to know each other, and if you get to the point where you're really interested in it with each other, then you can explain that you have a following, right? But in that way, and it's not, I don't think it's dishonest, because let's face it, guys, this is Discord. We have fake names, we have fake pictures anyway, right? It would be a way for you to meet women in a space that you're interested in. You could maintain your anonymity. You could put that sphere on the shelf, but at the same time, you could still show off. You could still show what you're good at. You could still demonstrate like what benefits you bring at the same time.
there was one guy who took girlfriend applications. He was like, hey, he had like literally a form filled out, and he was like, give me your name, your city, your Twitter @ I want to see if you're a psycho on social media, and like basic questions, and then he just filtered them out. I don't know if it was successful or not, but it was kind of funny.
I can make this happen for you if you want. I'm very good at organizing. I can filter out the crazy. Like, I'm not Darius. I won't take anything, right? Like, I'll be like, okay, nope, no. Oh, you made a lot of tweets about guillotine memes.
idea.
Nope, you're out, right? Like, we can get an application process, and I promise you, you'll have people wanting to come to you. Relevant, right? Like, they just will.
Sure, yeah, we can try it.
Let's do it. Okay, we'll do it. But Sulfur's here.
Emancipation.
Sulfur's here, fellow white woman. Okay.
I mean, I'm kind of sure, but a couple of questions. Relevant. Are you trying to meet someone for a relationship or for sex, first and foremost? Relationship. Okay, so please do not meet anyone on Discord. Please do not do any of these very bizarre things. But second of all, we're gonna have to stop playing Tarkov, young man.
No way. No.
League of Legends, all right? But no, I honestly, I 100% understand.
Fuck your interest. Fuck them.
Tarkov is out.
I had a lot of hours in that thing.
My boyfriend still plays Tarkov. You can do it.
Of course. Did you meet playing Tarkov though?
No.
Yeah. So I'm just I wanted to ask that because I was reading chat, I was in chat, and I was malding a little bit listening to some of these questions. I just really wanted to know whether or not you were actually because obviously if you want sex, there's a million avenues to do that, but Discord is a dangerous place to meet other people. But if your issue is more on the closing end of hey, I'm interested in meeting, hey, I'm interested in talking to you further, what do you feel is your point of disconnect? Is it more that you're not connecting with those people on interests or conversation points?
Yeah. Does it look like I have painted nails right now? I'm sorry. I just got distracted.
Nice nude.
It does look like for white. It looks very white.
They're a little light.
Yeah, it's the light. It's sorry. I got a little bit distracted. Yeah, common interest is definitely. I was listening the entire time. Common interest is absolutely an issue that I have. It feels like a lot of the things that a lot of the women that are attracted to me are into are not stuff that I'm into and can't relate with at all.
Okay. And is the relation so? Just bouncing a couple of ideas off, right? When are you using Tinder? Are you communicating where are you actually interacting with people and kind of what is the the space that you're using to do that?
So I'm on Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge. Hinge I have the most success on. I would say. I like Hinge a lot more as well because people actually kind of low-key have to have bios on Hinge. I fucking hate Tinder because nobody has an actual legible bio. It's always 90% of the time it's either smoke with me or here's my Snapchat or hi. That's 90% of the time. Those are the only
So it's super impersonal. You're
Yeah,
not
it's like
necessarily getting
I
any
don't know
good.
anything about this person.
Yeah.
Isn't Tinder just known for mostly like a hookup location? So if you're trying
for
to
the most
find a
part, yeah.
relationship, then that's not the best place to go.
No, but it is
so-
where you'll find most people. I would say that other than Bumble, like I think probably the most. I don't know if everyone knows about Hinge even.
Yeah.
Like as far as especially younger people, are you finding that there's a hang up with when if like women are like uncertain, like a safety issue? Like, do you need someone that's not Darius to like give you like some kind of vetting? Like, if people are uncertain about you, like how are you giving that feedback if you're getting any kind of uncertain, unsafe kind of
what's your
reaction?
vibe? Oh, let me ask, on the dates you have been on, like, what's the feedback usually, right? Along those same lines, like, do women when women say why, like, what have you ever asked them, hey, why didn't we work out? What's their answer been?
Fantastic story, okay? Buckle in, okay?
All right.
So we did this on stream, had Destiny review it even. The Steven Meister review it. Said it went awful. And the reason why it went awful is because I wasn't able to communicate interest well enough, and I wasn't like doing anything. I was just interviewing, hence the interview riz. All I was doing is I was asking questions. I wasn't making any jokes. I wasn't communicating any interest, apparently. This was completely news to me. I was so convinced that they were lying. A 7-person panel came in like an IV drip to come in and like do an intervention and tell me that I was not doing it right. It was that bad. I was convinced they were all lying. And I kid you not, on the live, I messaged the person I went on a date with, and I was like, okay, all these people are telling me I didn't communicate like interest in you. Do you feel like I was interested in you? And she said no. And I was like, damn.
What does
Wait, you had a date on a live stream? And so that's how people were able to see it? Okay.
Okay, I have something I want to possibly, this may help. You can do a 1, 2, 3 strategy. 2 questions, 1 thing about yourself. And you do that throughout the conversation. So ask your 2 questions to gain an understanding of what interests they have, and then like either bounce off of what they have and be like, well, I've never heard of that, or, you know, I tried playing it, but it wasn't really cool, but this is what I like. And then you can go into things that interest you. So that gives them an opportunity to respond to any interest that you may have.
Well, wait, but you weren't saying that you had problems communicating your own interests in like things, right? You said that she didn't get the vibe that you were interested in her, or did I misunderstand?
Yeah, no.
So there was 2 things. She didn't get the vibe that I was interested in her, and I didn't want her to continuously hang out. And she just felt like I wasn't, like there wasn't a connection. Like there was nothing about me or anything like that.
Yeah,
I also
I don't
think I volunteered
1, 2, 3
much.
would work for that. So you ask 2 questions about her, and then you give an answer about yourself. And you just do that.
I'm trying to feel out how conversations
I think
go.
you need to just be less okay. As the man on the panel, right? I've been in your space. I've been where you're at, relevant. I have. You have to be willing to be super flirtatious and super like comfortable with just going for it. So what I mean by this, right? I'll be very specific. When you're asking your questions, don't just sit there across the table, ask questions. Sit next to her, right? Like, touch her hand, make these gestures. You don't like kiss her or anything. Like, just I'm gonna kiss you and just go in for it. But but slowly feel it out. Feel out slowly, step by step, what she's okay with, what she's comfortable with, and if she's interested at all. Because if she's interested at all, she'll reciprocate. She'll respond in kind. You'll be flirty, playful, touchy-feely. She'll be flirty, playful, touchy-feely. Like, you gotta find the energy. They're gonna match your energy, and if your energy it's a job interview, they're gonna match that.
Yeah. I would also say, like, I wouldn't get too caught up in, like, the date. Think of it as something being more casual. Like, you're just trying to get to know somebody, right? The more official and, like, in the bounds of, like, I don't know, this is a date, we must do date things on the date, right? The more weird the whole situation becomes, right? Like I think that most successful relationships, they feel more like organic friendships, right? Not like official meetings where an objective and a goal is achieved, right? By the end at dinner.
So I agree, but there's kind of two bits of conflicting things there. So what Whick just said, to my knowledge, is like another one of the issues that I have. And there's a whole fucking reason why I have that goddamn issue. And I think that's rather unique to me than most other people, which is this: I have no like flirtation, whatever shit. I don't do that shit at all. And part of the reason, well, the main reason why is because I'm fucking afraid of making somebody uncomfortable. Really horrified of making somebody
cut that shit out.
Yeah, well, no, we can't cut it all out, right? I have to find a balance, right? That's the thing, and that's the tricky part. And that's the thing that it's difficult for me, because it's like, okay, how flirty can I be in this moment? How flirty can I be in that moment? With this, with that, and it's kind of like a subconscious calculation that people kind of take for granted. But I don't have that subconscious calculation. I just go with, I'm not going to do fucking shit at all, and that's kind of a separate problem. But with to the friend point, right? It kind of conflicts with that previous point, because I'm typically not flirty with my friends. That's just not how it is for me, typically. But if you're a friend, you're a friend. You know, I'm not going to flirt with you or whatever. So I got to initiate this as a friend and add flirtation. I'm just confused. I don't really know what to do.
Okay, this friend advice, just real quick, guys, and then I'll let you go next. This friend advice is bullshit advice. Don't listen to that. You're not there to make friends. You're not there to play chess. You're not there to have a gaming buddy. You're there to have a relationship. They're not your friend. Right? You're there for a relationship. Make that clear.
You can build
Be
the
upfront.
friendship later.
Sure.
Build the friendship later.
Exactly.
Build the relationship. That relationship
Ice Beans,
with them
go.
First.
Just cut Millie off, will you? Just no.
Sorry.
No, go
just
ahead, Millie.
trying to give other people a chance. Like, I'm just trying to, balance it out. But go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead, Beans. Go ahead.
It's just a different approach. Okay, I think that the flirty route is one approach. The friend route is another approach that I personally think that you should go the friend route, because it's gonna get you just in contact with more women, or just like more people in general, right? Because you can practice that social awkwardness thing on like anybody, not just women, right? That's number one. Number two, if you are friends with someone, even if you don't have like a romantic connection with them, maybe they know someone that would introduce you to them. I don't know. Like, no,
this is bad advice.
Don't laugh. Don't laugh. It literally has fucking happened. Like, it happens all the fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, no, seriously, I'm gonna go anecdote Andy with my friend again, okay? But like the whole time she was for weeks she was like talking to us about how she wasn't sure if this guy liked her, if she was talking about the things that they did together that might mean that they like her. But then one time they had a party, like it was like a work thing, they were all hanging out, and we realized that simultaneously we were texting her, and this guy's best friend was also sitting there on the sidelines like, oh man, they're gonna do something. And his best friend took her phone and said, I'm keeping an eye on them. And we were like, we're both sitting here cheering on the sidelines for them to get together. So clearly there something was happening, okay? Even if you don't meet someone in the situation that you're hanging out with, they might.
Man, we got a lot of wholesome stories.
I don't fucking know. I just think that working on your skills, as a friend, that flirty stuff, I get it. I think that it is really hard. I'll say that. If especially when you try to break it down and you say, okay, well, what's the best point to say this, or what's the best point to back off? I get that. Social cues, we take that for fucking granted, right? But you might end up with someone who, maybe they don't get flirting either, and you might connect on that. That's something that happens, but you're not gonna know unless you I guess try just being friends with them.
Millie, go ahead.
Okay, this really depends. I think someone put this in chat, but it's honestly true. It really depends on how you meet them and when you met them. And honestly, if you're just meeting them. If you're just meeting them, don't be their friends. If you're meeting them to date them, you're going out on a date, fucking put them in the friend zone. You're going to friend zone yourself. That's stupid. But if they're like a friend of the group or you know them from work or something like that, you have to gauge whether or not they'd be interested, especially like at work, because you have to be very careful at work. But if they're like a part of the friend group, and they like come in and out, like, you know, I gauge how they react to you. And then just take that information and then try and like do a slight flirting with them to see if they reciprocate it. And if they start doing that, then you can maybe up it up a little bit, and then you can be like, hey, let's trade numbers, and then start texting them, see how things go from there, and then you can go into the point of asking them out on a date. But like, don't friend zone yourself. Really, that's the worst thing you can do.
Did you guys see the viral TikTok? The viral TikTok that went live recently about this guy's going on this date with this girl, and this date is this girl asks him, like, at the end of the date, they do all these things, all these activities. This girl asks him, so is this a date? The dude freezes up and fumbles the bag and says, no, we're just hanging out. No, don't do that. That is terrible. What are you doing? Okay.
Be like, hell yeah.
These women don't know what they're talking about.
I'm not saying you should. I'm not saying you should lie.
Don't know what you're talking about. Be upfront. Be civil. Be upfront. Be courteous about it, but be real about it. Say, hey, I think you're cute. I like your vibe. I think we could hang out. We could have some fun together, right? I'm really attracted to you. Let's grab drinks. Let's do a thing.
Don't say that I'm really attracted to you. Just say you're cute.
You know, but make it clear. Make it clear, right? Like that. This is a date, and this is for romantic interest. Don't do the friend shit. The friends. If you want friends, make friends. You want dates, get dates. Different things.
I think that a person might be able to pick up on the fact that it's a date rather than like a hangout, just with a friend. Am I wrong? Like, if someone's asking to hang out just with you, you're into guys, they're into girls, for example.
No, unless it's clear, it's not. Unless you make it clear,
I would make it clear. I'm team make it clear.
Yeah, I've heard people be like, yo, let's hang out, and then like people perceive it that way. It's kind of like morphed in some weird way of being like, yeah, let's go out on a date. But if you are unsure, definitely get that clarification and be like, hey, yo, like I'm having a really great time. I'm hoping this is a date because I like you, or I think you're cute. I'd like to get to know you a little bit more. And if you get rejected, because she's like, oh, I thought we just could hang out or whatever, blah blah blah, like, and then you just take that, you're like, okay, cool, whatever, like, let that roll off your fucking shoulders, move on to the next one. She ain't for you. Too bad, so sad.
Well, this is why most people don't, I think, aren't clear about it. So they give themselves an out. They give themselves give their ego a cushion, a safety net. That if they're not into you, if it doesn't work it out, you could just pretend it was just a hangout thing. Don't do that. Take the safety net out.
I think a lot of the time that's typically what it's used for is as an out. In typical cases, like I would say that there's a couple situations where I do have a unique kind of problem in comparison to a lot of other guys. I think that genuinely, I think probably if I had to put a number to it, I'd say about 98% of incels suffer from the same problem that I have, which is social inability. It's not a looks thing. It's not in. If you look up every single incel you could find on the internet right now, does not look bad enough where no woman would want them. Not one. Look up any of them.
I don't know.
I've done it. I've looked them all up.
That's pretty ugly. No, it's pretty
primarily a social issue.
Maybe a panel
granted, they
we can rate incels. I'll have the white women council rate the incels like on looks and see what.
Yes, let's do it.
But go ahead, continue. Irrelevant.
Some of them are hot.
Let's
like for
destroy
real.
people's self-esteem.
Beautiful for money. True. But finish your point, Irrelevant. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah, my bad. But no. But yeah, I think that's primarily where some of the issues come from. Something that Whick said earlier, but actually doesn't really apply to me, is I actually don't really have a fear of rejection, like at all. It's actually rather relieving because it means that the situation has kind of, depending on how it stops, because the situation is done and it hasn't resulted in somebody, my fear is making somebody uncomfortable or like making somebody feel like not whatever. And that is a death sentence as a man. That is a death sentence. If you're afraid of making somebody uncomfortable, you will never do any of the things that you need to be able to flirt. Flirting is necessarily has a risk of making somebody uncomfortable. That is what it is. If I'm like, hey, I think you're cute, and you're like, I didn't invite that kind of attention. Why the hell are you saying that? It's done. It's just it. Like, you're fucked, right? There's any type of flirtation has the risk of making somebody uncomfortable.
What is
right?
the substantive difference
why-
between?
That's why.
Oh, just real quick. What's the substantive difference between a rejection and making someone uncomfortable? Because I think they're the same thing.
Okay, so when I'm talking about making somebody uncomfortable, I'm talking about like,
but go ahead.
Okay, I'm talking about like I guess I would just describe the difference as somebody might not be interested in your attention. Maybe they just don't find me attractive. Maybe they don't like my vibe. Maybe they don't like my style. Maybe they're in a relationship themselves, and so they reject me. There's multiple different reasons why you might reject somebody, but not be uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable is like maybe I'm coming on too strong and I'm kind of coming off as creepy. Maybe I'm making somebody uncomfortable because this is just simply not an environment where they would like otherwise do it. I had somebody that specifically told me that they would be receptive to me if I didn't ask them to hang out in the gym. I asked them to hang out after the gym, and they said they would have been receptive to me had I not asked them in the gym.
That's just like, dumb on her part. Like,
you can't read people's minds.
People can be dumb, right?
You can't be expected to read someone's mind. That's truly honest point there. And so, like, you trying to come up to someone and engage with them, and then they turn you down, and they're like, "Well, you shouldn't have asked me here." Be like, "I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know how you're feeling. You can't be expected to be a fucking mind reader."
Well, don't debate it. Don't debate them on it, right? But just say, yeah.
No, but I'm just saying, like, it's absurd for women and men to have these like, oh well, like, oh, how dare you come and approach me then?
Finish your point, Relly, and then Ferry.
Yeah, sorry. There are certain circumstances, there's certain environments where it might be acceptable for certain behaviors, and certain environments might not be. I have talked to people that have said that they would be wholly, entirely uninterested in any kind of attention from people inside of specific environments. Like, I've had debates as to whether or not it's okay to ask somebody to hang out in the gym, at the grocery store, at your job, at work. And some people have said no to all of these. You cannot ask somebody to hang out, like if you find somebody cute and you hit it off at the grocery store, at the mall, or anything like this. There's people, right? People think in multiple of different ways, and it can make people feel uncomfortable by being approached in these environments. Why are you approaching me in the grocery store? I'm just here to buy food. Why are you approaching me in the mall? I'm just here to buy shit. Right? And it can make people feel uncomfortable in these environments, and it kind of results in a paralysis, because it's like, I don't want to make you uncomfortable, and I can't read your mind, so it's kind of fucked.
Go ahead,
I have to get over that. I agree, though, with Whick.
It is precisely because of that irrelevant why I think that Whick is wrong, and that being friends is not bullshit. It's in fact is the way to go. And in fact, I'll give you an example. It's a fictional example, but I think it holds true. Have you watched The Office, the US version? You know Jim Halpert?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about with when I mean, say, being friends with somebody, right? Like, he doesn't just roll up to Pam's like desk, right, and tell Pam, "I love you. You're so attractive. I've wanted to be with you forever. You know, would you like to go out with me?" That's not how he does it, right? He brings her favorite yogurt, right? He's slowly, like, they have like a funny thing where they laugh together about like putting like Dwight's like stapler in Jell-O, right? You know, he does all of these little tiny things to build a relationship with her slowly over time, right?
It's a cute story.
He doesn't just jump right in, right? And that's why, like, being a friends first, it can help you figure out a lot of low stakes. So you're specifically afraid of making somebody uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
But if you get to know somebody in a slow way and you do small things like that, you can figure out and sort of suss out what's going to make her uncomfortable and what's not going to make her uncomfortable, right? So you can decide. So if you do the pudding joke, right? And she likes the pudding joke, that's a green. That means you can go further. You can try different things, right? And if you make somebody a little bit uncomfortable, that's not a death sentence. That's just a sign, hey, this person doesn't like this. You go and you do something else, right? And then eventually, after a long time of building up a strong, warm bond with somebody, then you ask them out, right? And you could say, hey, you know, there's this movie coming out. Would you like to come and see it with me? And then when you're on the date, then you can be specific and clear with your intentions that this is a date and I would like to date you, right?
Why do you set yourself... Barry, you're just wrong, and I'll tell you why. First of all, That's fiction, okay? It's a story. They made it up. The script writers made them fall in love. They didn't fall in love naturally.
She was taken.
So,
she was taken.
Second of all, I don't know The Office. I don't know the specifics, okay? Second of all, like, why set yourself up like that for being trapped in? Why friend zone yourself like that? If you are interested in someone as a romantic partner, right? Be like, you can judge if there's interest in several ways, but once you find out that there might be interest, go for it. Make a move. Do something.
You can, but the problem with jumping in too quickly is he is specifically afraid of making somebody uncomfortable.
Fear is a mind killer. I don't care about his fear. He needs to get over it.
Very clean.
No, but I think,
using the okay, hang on, my kids. I couldn't catch him this time. Look, first off, using The Office is kind of a bad example because one, she was already in a relationship. So he was in love with someone that was already taken. So you're kind of setting yourself up for their relationship to fail so you have an opportunity. Right? That is just kind of bad. Like, don't fall in love with someone that's already taken because you don't know what's going to happen with their relationship. And then you'd be stuck loving someone that could be getting married and having a life all on their own without you. Don't do that. I know stuff happens where you do and you can't help it. You know, sometimes love happens in weird ways. But if you're gonna try and engage with someone, make sure they're single. Don't do it with someone who's already taken. And second off, like, you can't use TV or movies as dating advice.
One, it's not my responsibility to find out if they're single. It's their responsibility to tell me if they're single, first of all.
But if you're already aware,
just because there's a goalie doesn't mean you can't score.
Hey, yo, that's such terrible advice. That's such terrible advice.
Listen,
it's funny.
Yo, how many? Look, I'm curious. How many women here? How many women? How other women? This isn't for you, irrelevant. Sorry, women. How many of you have gone after another woman's man? How many of you have gone after another woman's man? Here, raise your hand. Okay, safe space.
Police panel.
The first guy I was talking to, I didn't know he had a girlfriend.
No, you. So you've never, knowing someone else is with someone else, right? You've never been like, nah.
No.
That man's mine.
He's
not
lying to both of us. So.
Wow. Okay.
Wicked, you? What the fuck?
I don't know.
Bro.
Look, I don't know about this.
Right,
I don't think this is. I think you're all. Well, maybe you were all like the most virtuous sort. Women, absolutely. A lot of women will try to do that. When you are in a relationship,
and they're terrible.
When I am in a relationship, I get more attention from women than when I am outside of a relationship. When I am single, I get less attention. When I am not single, women come on to me and flirt with me more. It just happens. I don't know. So I don't know. Maybe y'all are being virtuous here, or maybe you're lying. I don't know.
I had a similar effect. I think a lot of that, though, is explained by a process in which just that a lot of women see when you're around other women as like a green flag for you not being a fucking creep. So like when like a woman sees me like hanging out and positively interacting with other women, they're like, oh yeah, this guy's probably not a fucking weirdo. And so they're like a lot more likely to think of me in a like positive romantic or even friendly capacity.
Yeah, and it's not just flirting, right? Like a lot of people are saying, well, they're just flirting. No, trust me.
Wick,
it's
when
gone,
did they flirt with
it's gone
you?
before.
I'm
It's gone
curious.
beyond. I'm not gonna talk. I don't talk
All right,
about my
yeah.
personal stuff, okay? But you know,
I'm joking.
yeah. I'm just saying it's not just flirting. But I'm just sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt the Let's Help Raleigh segment. But I was curious because you're all the white women I can gather at last short notice. So.
Can I shift the subject? Can I ask the white woman a question?
Yes.
Not to do with this subject. I want to shift the topic.
The white woman and one coconut.
Yes.
You're a white woman for today, okay? So.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm white. Okay, go ahead.
Let me ask you all a question, okay? All right. This is great. I love this. I love making I kind of lied when I said I don't like making women uncomfortable. If they're a white woman, I love making white people uncomfortable. So here we go.
Terrible.
So how many of you have dated a black person? Any of you? You? Okay.
I have. A woman,
Okay.
yeah.
I haven't.
So, okay. 2 of you have dated a black person. Great. Okay. I guess this doesn't have to exclusively apply to black people. How did your parents interact with that person?
Like anyone.
Hey,
that's
thank
not
you for
your
the
own
raid,
color?
Sansel, by the way.
The black person. Did your parents interact with the black person?
Are you only specifically talking about black people, or are you like?
No, I
saying,
guess
like,
anyone
I
non-white.
dated a Mexican
Any
and he was
non-white.
really
If you have a
brown.
non-white partner,
Yeah.
has your parents
Yeah.
interacted with them?
Absolutely.
Have they been like?
Yes.
Do they do? Are they weird? Do they do the
No.
thing? Do they do the things? I had
Wait,
one of my
what's
exes
the-
was
what's
white.
the- wait,
okay?
what's the thing? Oh,
I
I'm
met
sorry,
her.
what
The
is the
first
thing?
her mom was talking to me about was Barack Obama. Okay, I
my
want to know how many of your
Y'all know each
parents do
other?
that shit. I want you to point them out, single them out.
Okay, so I had a boyfriend who was half Korean, half white, and my grandfather asked him where he was really from. So that was unfortunate.
Oh my god.
That's a classic. It's like a rite of passage. That you have to go
The
through.
only thing my parents ever did was for the one boyfriend I had, my dad wrote his name on a shotgun shell and said, "If you ever fuck with her, this is for you."
Oh Jesus Christ!
Jesus.
So I know I'm not a
we
woman.
live in the South. It's typical here.
I
It's
know
the
I'm not
whole,
a woman,
sitting on the front porch
but
with
the
a
most
shotgun.
the most awkward interaction I had with a parent was I was dating a girl, right? And she was kind of from the, lower income section. So I was eating in her house with her father, and her father, I guess, wanted to test my racism. So he started just calling people slurs, right? Like he just started. So,
Jesus.
and I didn't know what to do. I was like, I'm not comfortable with that kind of talk. He's like, no, it's okay. You can say it in this house. It's fine. Right? I'm like, what? No, it's not okay. Let's do this. Awkward parent stories. Let's expand the scope of your question if you don't mind. Awkward parent story. What's the most awkward either your parents have been with a date you brought home or you've had done to you by parents, right? Like when you've gone to Go ahead, Allison.
Okay, well, my high school boyfriend, his sister was a lesbian, and we were in his living room with his parents and his sister and his girlfriend, and the mom pointed at the sister and the girlfriend and goes, I was like, I get it. I get it. Oh my god.
That's so cringe, dude.
Jeez.
It's not great.
Oh no.
Any stories anyone else wants to share? I'm curious.
I got nothing.
This was right before like I want to say like a week before my husband proposed to me. We were all at like a
Baby, no.
we were all at a barbecue, and my parents like it was just my dad at first took my then boyfriend out like to have a conversation with them, and it ended up being where like him and my mom were just basically giving him a lecture out on the porch, basically saying, what's your intentions with our daughter? Like, what are you going to do? What are your plans? Like, are you going to be able to provide for her? It was the cringiest thing I'd ever walked in. I walked in on it and I was like, whatever this is, this needs to end. We need to go back in. And they were like, no, go back in. And I was like, okay. And he just had to sit there and deal with it for like 15 or 20 minutes. It was so fucking awkward. I hated it.
I think that's parents' jobs, though, right?
I
To
know, but
embarrass
it was
their
so
kids and
so
to make silly
embarrassing.
jokes. Yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah,
even
I
no.
know-
They were dead serious the whole time. They weren't like
Oh.
mad at him. They weren't yelling at him or anything like that. But it sounded like a lecture. And if like anyone has like or knows South Asian parents, like they can really lecture. But yeah, that's probably my most awkward interaction as far as dating goes and parents.
I have to do this, okay? Because I cannot pass up on an opportunity, especially with white women, because they always fail this, okay? They always fail this. I always do this, okay? I got a group full of white people. Here we go. How many of you have said the N-word?
I mean, we were talking about
Probably
school books
not
earlier.
at a person or about a person, but
Okay,
like
raise
I'd
your-
probably
raise your
sing a
hand.
song or
Wait,
some
so,
shit.
how
Like,
many of you
yeah.
said the N-word? Have you said the N-word?
Yeah.
Wick, get that hand
Most
up.
likely.
Wick, get that hand
I
up.
did
Wick,
in
get
fifth
that hand
grade.
up.
I
Get that
did in
hand
fifth
up.
grade. Let me. Oh, this is a funny story too. Okay, my teacher
Don't
asked
lie
us.
about
Our
it. You
fifth
know
grade.
everybody
Our
has.
fifth grade teacher asked us, "Hey, what slurs do you know?" Like we were talking about racism.
Oh no.
I answered the question.
Familiar.
I answered the question, and I got in trouble. I got sent to the principal's office. I was in fifth grade. Don't ask
That's
fifth graders
classic
what
entrapment.
slurs they know. They will tell you. Okay, I'm just saying.
Is that the only time, Wick?
Yes, that's literally the only time
I don't
said
believe it. I don't
I'm
believe it.
just telling you
I
straight up.
don't believe
I
it.
think to clarify your question, it should be who has ever said it to a black person.
No. The reason why I asked this is because so many people will just straight up say they've never said it at all, like at all. And I always use this as like a little thing because I do not trust any white person that says they've never said the N-word. I don't trust you. They don't. I just can't do it. I feel like you're lying to me for like some kind of like you don't want to tell me that you at some point use it. I just can't trust you. If you can't say to my face, you said the N-word, I can't trust you. It is what it is.
Well, speaking of not trustworthy, Fairy apparently has to dip. She has chosen this moment to exit the conversation. I don't know why. I don't know what about this topic or this question made her decide to go. But
Don't lie, Queen. You know you've said it before.
I will tell you this much. I've never said it, but I have written it before about that.
Whoa! Bonus points! You got it right. You're on handwriting?
Yo, writing it down is crazy.
It was in a poem, okay? It was
in a poem. What was
hear
the
the
poem?
What are you rhyming with?
no.
You don't have to
You
say
read
the
that
word,
poem
but I
out
want to hear
loud.
the rest of the poem. Like, was it like a slam poetry? Did it rhyme?
No, it was not a slam poem.
Wait, just because
Three
that
verse.
tactic worked on you doesn't mean it'll work on anyone else. You can't get anyone to trap themselves. Come on.
I'm gonna go to the principal's office, okay?
Okay,
Oh,
Fairy, thanks for
my.
coming by. My spell's
right.
wearing off
Bye,
apparently, so I'll
Fairy
see you later, Fairy.
Queen.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm just
You'd be surprised how many people say no to that.
Well,
It's crazy.
saying yes
They're
has
lying.
consequences, right?
It does.
And especially the embarrassment, and because I know you are relevant enough to know that you'd be like, okay, yeah, I get it that you said it, but there's a lot of people who are minorities who that's just a deal breaker straight off.
Oh yeah.
It'd just be it.
Oh yeah.
And so especially if people were interested in you, I could absolutely see all the incentive in the world.
Wait, interested. Hold up. I want to be clear. I'm not telling people this on a date. Just to be clear, I'm not like singling them out. Like,
why not? That'd be a fun question.
Yo, tell me you said that. You say. You look at you say. I don't do that.
I mean, honestly, I would say that that's like depending on where you are in a conversation with someone, like I think that'd be pretty funny to bring it up. Like,
yeah, maybe.
It depends
maybe
on
if
where
they know
you
what
are
I
in the
do.
conversation.
Yeah. If they know what I do, I'll drop it 100%.
Yeah. But I would say yeah, that's a pretty good one. Do you have any other icebreakers that you have?
Wait, that was an icebreaker?
Yeah, I mean that was
No,
okay.
he's here. He's here asking white women questions.
Icebreakers.
This is a white women
Don't
panel.
ever use that
Ask
as
the
an
white women
icebreaker,
questions, right?
please.
No, okay,
No.
hold on. But that was a good
No.
icebreaker for us, right? Do you have any other?
I
good
think we
ones?
were we had already broken the ice way earlier. We
Yeah,
were
we
good.
It
I
would
did
get
crack
people
that open
talking.
at TwitchCon last year, though. I did.
Oh,
I went to a like a party, and it was like 15, 20 people there or something like that. I just
Was it the first night party at with me, Chad?
yeah,
all that?
Paradise.
When I was
Paradise.
just gone, unfortunately, I feel really bad about that. Like I feel like I missed out on the first night because I had accidentally ingested something I shouldn't have.
Yeah, that was-
I was just gone.
Ooh,
But-
tell me more.
I've told this story before, right? Like I accidentally, I don't know if I accidentally or someone put it in my drink. I don't know how it happened, but I was on shrooms.
Oh,
I did not intend to be on shrooms, but I was on shrooms, and
Damn.
they were very kind. They were very nice. They sat me in a corner, and someone watched after me. IRI came by, gave me drinks. You know, Sleeve T Jen would check on me a few times. Right, people checked on me, but I was gone. I was out.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember being like, "Wait, what's going on with Wick?"
Yeah,
You were
it wasn't
glad you survived the
fun,
night, Wick.
but
Are you going to the next TwitchCon, Wick?
I'm going to try. Yeah. I'm staying with Erudite in those people.
Oh,
Should be a fun time. I'm excited.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. But yeah, any more questions for the white women panel, or are we just kind of winding down here? What do you think, guys?
Was that the only question that Riley had?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
For white women?
Yeah.
I
Do you say the N-word? Drops it at that, leaves it.
I don't know if they'd be. It just I don't know, dude. It's just I don't know. Are y'all okay? Are white women okay? Are y'all good? Like
doing fantastic.
You're
Great,
good. You're
actually,
good
yeah.
because
Oh yeah.
Personally doing fine. I don't know about the majority of us.
Only thing I can say is I wish my AC was working because it's hot as balls in my house right now. But other than that, I'm good.
Omar's been DMing me. Omar says that these women are all harlots and that they have bad advice, and he
Omar,
wanted to talk to you for a moment.
I was trying to get you in here, buddy.
They would destroy us.
Okay, he wants to talk to Irrelevant. He wants to help Irrelevant.
Yeah. See, Wick, I told you.
Yeah, so I want to give him that opportunity.
I'll hop off. I'll let.
You don't
Omar
have to go.
do-
You don't have to
Okay,
go.
don't worry.
You can
I'm
if
not,
you want. But...
I'm probably the palest here, but I am not actually white, so we'll just
Wait,
I'll let this go.
Racially, what are you then?
Pashtun.
Oh,
in
okay.
Italian, but I mean that's the pale. But yeah.
I mean, if we're getting technical about it, yeah, I can say I'm Latina, but like my skin's white. So
I have
I'm
6% Native American in me. Okay.
Huh?
Yeah, like
white.
Even be here.
I'll
What are you
hop
doing?
I think I might be the whitest here then. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. The
Bye.
whitest girl we know.
Good night.
See you later.
Well, you
Okay.
asked the N-word question, and we've lost 2 white women. So good job.
Well,
Drop them like flies.
Great job.
it does divide people.
Omar, wake up. Hold on, I'll DM him.
Is this Omar? I put my wife on a pedestal.
Yes, this is this
Oh
guy.
jeez. Oh my goodness.
I know you had
Alright.
some issues with him, and so
yes, I
might be
did.
interested. Well, in the meantime, right? How's everyone doing? Is everyone having fun? I know this was last minute because okay, I'll complain to you, Irrelevant. Right? You might understand my pain here, but the only reason we having this show today is because my original content was moved at me last minute. I was going to go on the kick or keep thing. It was originally supposed to be Monday, but then they're like Sunday night. They're like, oh, we can't. We're gonna have to move it to Monday. So I moved my stuff around. I rescheduled things. I got things together. I'm like, okay, Tuesday we're ready for it.
Yep.
Don't hear a word from Karantos until an hour before the show when he's like, oh, no, we're not doing it tonight. We're doing it Wednesday. And I can't do it Wednesday. I have an appointment Wednesday. I'm talking with Aristocracy Wednesday. So I'm missing out on Kick or Keep and a last-minute reschedule. And I had to find content. Like, I like to plan out my content. So this has been... Ugh. But
That's awful, man.
I hate it. Why is no
Did
one
they tell you
professional?
why
with
they
these things?
rescheduled?
No. No.
You got fucked, bro. Hey, listen, you got fucked, dude. I don't know what to tell you, bro.
I don't know if it was Karantos who dropped the ball, or if Destiny had something come up, or look, if someone is dying or a major event happened that people, okay, I get that, but man, I don't know. Try to let me know more in advance. That's just when I put a panel together, I make a group chat. Everyone knows what time it's going to be. Everyone knows if a change happens, and changes have happened before, right? Everyone's aware. Everyone's there. Everyone can ask questions. I don't know. Very unprofessional. All I'm saying. And yo, I'm just saying, Karantos, I booked your show for you. I got all your guests for this one. I gave you the topics at hand. Like, why are you getting paid for this when I'm doing your work? I don't know.
Wait, what topics did you give?
So he came to me. He's like, hey, I don't know who to ask for this show. Can you give me a list? And so 75% of the people that he's invited that have accepted, I gave him those names.
You know he gets paid for that, right?
I know. Or just FYI, look, if Destiny wants someone who will actually do the job, okay, I'm raising my hand right here. Okay, this guy. Anyway, whatever. That's my complaint. That's my take. Omar, you're not following through. You're not undeafening. You need to undeafen, or else I don't know what I can whatever. Anyway,
You need one of those. You need one of those bots where when you ping someone, it pings them like 10, 15 different times.
it would be a terrible bot.
Wow, that sounds
It's like a war crime.
Well, you only have access to it. Not
It's
everybody
a white
else in
woman
this
bot.
world.
That's what it is. White women thinking they can just ping you 15 times and that's okay, right? Like that is not a.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Ugh.
Wait, can I
Coming
ask
from the white woman, yeah.
a question to the women on the panel here?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, all of these are going to be oriented around black people because that's just the shit that hits home and funniest to me. How many of you, I actually don't even know all of your political affiliations, have any of you posted like a black square on Twitter or Instagram?
No.
You haven't done that?
I didn't do
I
it.
found out. I think I would have, but I found out about the black square when people started posting about how cringe it is to do the black square. So I did not do the black square.
I feel like you could have
So
posted
you got
something a lot
saved.
more
I
beneficial
did
than
get
a black square. Like you could have posted some links to places to donate. You could have showed some actual shit instead of just being like a black square. Like I support. Like that doesn't mean anything.
Wait,
You
Allison,
even
did
had
you
Twitter
answer?
then.
You
Yeah.
did? You did!
I did. I had multiple people unfollow me too. It's fine.
Oh no. I feel like okay. Can I?
It's a
can I
different time.
okay, this I mean, okay, can I just ask, like, I guess, why is that still sometimes used as like essentially, like, I mean, presumably somebody would have maybe learned, like, by now, oh, that's probably not like the best thing that you could do in this situation, right? Or like the most helpful or whatever else. Like, why is it still sometimes used as people as like, oh, okay, they're cringe now because they one time posted.
It's like peak slacktivism. Like you literally did nothing. No help. Nothing.
Genuinely, for me,
No,
I just
I
think
get
it's funny. I think it is like a good sign that somebody is like actually cares to do anything, but it is peak slacktivism because it's like the minimal effort thing to do. It's like if I go, I support trans people.
It's worse than that.
It's like there's no stakes here to me doing that. Like it's not like I'm in a room full of conservatives that might like jump at me for saying that.
It's worse than that. I'm gonna say that I think that kind of stuff hurts. It doesn't help. It hurts, and I'll tell you why. Because it's empty calories. You think you have done something. You feel like you have done something, but actually you've done absolutely nothing. And so that energy that you felt like that made you want to post that black square in the first place, which could have gone to actual things that would help, has now instead gone to performance. And that energy, right? And everyone has limited amounts of this. We're not like fucking saints. We have limited amounts of time, limited amounts of energy that we're willing to put forth towards advocacy for causes. It's gone instead of to doing something that might help to something that absolutely won't help. It's hurt.
To be fair, I didn't think I was doing anything major. I was just like caught up in the emotion. I was like, oh yes, like but like I didn't think that I was like, I've saved black people with this fucking square. Like I did not think that.
Brother Wick, hold on. How is it not like any different than just stating like a political position? Like, yeah, I love them.
I'm getting the pass today, gang. Okay. Next time someone's parents ask me, I'm like, well, actually, I have a pass, and I pull it out of my wallet.
Yeah, you do.
Wick is definitely gonna say the N-word after this now.
I hope so. He needs to get those numbers up, the rookie numbers. Like,
oh, damn! You're taking shots at my platform size? What the fuck? Like, I invite you into my house on my show.
The N-word. You've only said the N-word once. Those are rookie numbers. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Come on, get that weight up. Come on. Come on, dude. I never.
Okay.
No. What was I fucking saying? Oh yeah, it's similar to like Wick. If you were to say, you support trans people, do you think that's useless as well?
Mostly yes. I think that me coming on is mostly useless. I think there are times and places where absolutely it isn't useless. Like, for example, if I am on a panel and they start talking about trans issues and it becomes a discussion, I think putting my stance out there at the moment is helpful. showing that, hey, this is my stance. This is what I want. I think that does signal to my audience. It does signal to my viewers. It signals to the other people on the panel where I stand. And that has an effect. It's not nothing. But I think just me going on Twitter right now, just cold cocking it, right? Cold shot, putting it out there, it does nothing. There's no effect.
Because I misstated my question. Do you think it does harm? Like you were talking about with the black square.
I think it can, in certain circumstances. Yes, I think that me just cold cocking, showing it on Twitter, actually, yes, I think it does do harm.
Really?
I think it only does harm if the person deludes themselves into
it's a very small amount of harm, but it is harm.
Well, I think I more agree with what Allison was saying there. If you are like, yeah, I got my trans advocacy, baby. You're like, yeah, let's get this. You know what I'm saying? You just put out a tweet. It's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe you're doing some harm there. But like sometimes when people say put like I support trans people online or whatever, they're just stating a position publicly, like maybe for the record or something like that, so that they have a record of this is something that I support at this moment.
$5, $5 from Kid to say nobody thought it was a major thing. It was just presenting a stance. I'm not seeing anything wrong with that. I'm missing how it's harmful. And I think you have Aureli's stance here. Because again, come on, are you guys serious right now? We all know that most advocacy done online is just that. That is it. That is all it goes.
Sure.
Right? Well, so how is that not harmful? Do you think that's a good thing, that's where most advocacy goes?
Wasn't there also a thing with like the black squares where they were using the hashtags so that people who were actually trying to get help with things couldn't get noticed because people were spamming these hashtags with the black square?
That too. Right, but that's a very unique circumstances of harm. I'm talking in general harm. Like I think that most times that won't be the case. That you just saying I support trans rights or I support trans people isn't going to have that kind of effect that the black square did. So I think these are two separate things. But the thing the reason that most people only do, I think that the amount of people, if this wasn't a thing, and if people recognized more that it wasn't actually helping and in fact was hurting, I think that more people would do that direct action. I'm not trying to pretend that everyone who tweets out I support trans rights, if they couldn't do that or if they didn't do that, would go and actually do actual advocacy. I'm not pretending it's 100, 1-to-1, but I'm saying it's not 0. There would be at least 5%, 2%, 3% of people who would if they didn't get that energy out that way, and they would instead get it out in a more productive way, and that's the harm.
Yeah, but you said it's always harmful. I don't think anybody on my
100%. No, it's not always harmful. So if I think we shake hands. I would say that it's always potentially harmful. Is that better? It always has potential.
It has the potential. Like there's, this is kind of what I was getting at a little bit, and I could go off specifically about like older white people and stuff, because I feel like there's a really, really big thing with like older white people where they'll be like, they'll do that. They'll post like something online. They'll be like, boom, that's big dubs. And like, that's it. Like I post a black square, we're good. Like, I don't know, 50, 60-year-old white people or whatever. Like I said, I met a lot of older white people who are that way. They're like, yeah, I posted my shit. I got my bread. Let's go. And for them, 100% what you're talking about is at play, because they're convinced when they post that black square, they're making a difference. Like they're doing something. They're really putting.
I think a lot of women, like, why is it just old people? Like, I think a lot of young people do this too. Did you see the tweet?
No, I think a lot. Sure.
Did you see the tweet recently where a bunch of indigenous people, Native Americans, they went to Mount Rushmore and they flipped off Mount Rushmore, right? They took a picture doing that, and they all pat each other on their back and like, we're sticking it to the man. They've accomplished nothing. They've done nothing, but they're getting accolades for this on social media. They're getting praise. They're getting the incentive is to do more of this kind of performance. This is how the instructional structures are built, right?
I don't know about this specific scenario, but I might not actually agree that they're doing nothing. Like, do you remember the Black Hammer organization?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, those cringe motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know those people. Okay.
Are they the people that bought like land and they were
Yeah.
like, we're gonna okay.
Yes. Yeah, it was just fucking weirdos. Okay, so they, you know, cringe as they are, that's what they did. They posted a bunch of social media posts like, yeah, fuck white people. You guys need to like lick our boots and shit like that. You know, that kind of thing, and stuff like that. But they got money. They got real bread. You know, you saw there's some of their stuff. They got juiced on their money, right? And so they're gaining like influence and literal assets as a result of those things. So they have the ability. So like just posting like shitty pictures like that or whatever, you can build a following, and you can use that following. Like I don't think it is.
How are they using this money? Are they using it to help?
Oh yeah, yeah, you're
like
using
this.
The money
This is where it comes in.
They're getting money, right?
Yeah, but this is a problem. Like how you get the money matters because the type of person, or the path you follow to get the money does influence where that money will go and how you will spend that money in the future. It does have an effect on you. And whether it's visible or invisible, it does influence you. And when you earn this money this way, and we can see it in all these organizations that are doing these kind of performative acts, their money doesn't go to help, it goes to do more performative acts, right? Because this is how they've been trained. How they trained themselves. Because they've trained themselves by, I perform this action, I get this result, I get a reward. So when they want to perform more actions, what actions are they going to perform? The ones that give them rewards in the past. I mean, it's clear to me. I don't know why this is like...
You know what? I'm going to stay myself here, all right? I'm going to put myself out. You've done it to me, Whick. In your infinite wisdom, you've done it to me. I'm going to defend the brother Hassan, okay? Because I think Hassan is the same way. I think that's one performative motherfucker. I think he's one performative bastard. All he does, he be talking, whatever. Like, oh yeah, fuck this shit, whatever. But you see, he's actually been, fundraising. He's been putting up donations. He got big numbers. I think he was like the #1 donator or something to the some union strike thing for Amazon.
The Writers Guild okay. Different.
I don't remember what it was. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Like he went from the point of like slacktivism, where he truly was just talking the talk, and now he's starting to walk the walk. I would say he's really getting steps in motion, and I want to see him keep going. And he has been snowballing. At one point, he wasn't donating. I think literally at one point he was unironically donating more money to I forget what. He was donating more money to some random thing instead of like political organizations when all of his content is political. And it was like, okay, this is where he only had like $1,000 donated to like political organizations, but he was at the time making like $2 million a year. It's like, what are we doing, bro?
Sure, but and I'm all for that. Look, I'm not here to single out or attack Hassan. I think Hassan isn't all performative, and as you demonstrated, he has done things that are actively helpful. He has given material to causes that help people, right? His audience and his critics have largely driven him to do that. What I am talking about people who aren't platformed, who don't have sizable audiences and sizable influences. How many people, instead of donating to a Hassan stream charity, right? Instead of giving their time and effort and their $5 or their money there, have instead decided to get into an argument on Twitter about trans rights.
Well, what is that Hassan started there? He started with arguments on Twitter, just throwing shit like, he has a clip of him talking about landlords' blood running through the street. Like, it was just fucking off.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? The most hyperbolic, crazy stuff, right? He started there, and then now he's at the point where, like, low key, he's kind of making shit happen. So, like, I think that, you can talk, and then you can be put into a position when you gain enough, hopefully when you gain enough influence, but hopefully right away, right? You can start walking the walk.
Yeah, no, it's possible. I'm just thinking it's more like that is less likely to happen than the norm. I think that's a good example, but I'm going to need more than just Hassan or Keffels for these other examples that do happen, because I think that's survivorship bias. We're just seeing when you get to a successful enough place, you get more reward for actively doing actual things. But when people aren't as they aren't as critical of you, and they aren't looking into you as closely, I think that it's just easier to get away with just the selectivism.
Of course. I would say that's part of the reason why they didn't do it when they were smaller, especially Hassan. Because he didn't have like whole ass articles written up about him every single fucking day, how he doesn't pay his mods or he doesn't do whatever, and things like that. And when he did start facing too much backlash, he started doing it.
Yes, and that's why I think that for the general populace who isn't going to face that backlash, that is just not going to be helpful, and then instead will be empty calories that cause harm. I mean, that makes the argument for me right there.
I mean, I'll say this.
We'll let the women talk a little, right? Well, as a treat.
No,
Appreciate
I mean,
that.
okay, I do understand that a lot of it is empty calories, like 100%. Okay, I would say that I specifically wasn't guilty of like the black square. What I would say I was guilty of was around the time of the Black Lives Matter protests and everything. I was very much a Instagram story reposter, I guess, of all these like various things that were coming out, and it was basically like slacktivism, right? But I can't say that I didn't learn anything from them, that I then applied in my later interactions with people, especially when it dealt with like educating people on race and things like that. So I mean, I do understand what you're saying as to like the harm, because you're not then putting that energy into, like voting or like actual advocacy or something like that. But I think for most people, like sometimes education is a win. For most people.
Don't know if I want people posting black squares to be educating people about race.
No, not black squares though. I'm just talking about like the other types of because like, okay, let's be real. It wasn't just black squares that you saw floating around like during 2020, right? It was other things too about like I don't know.
Yes,
like,
but a lot of that I would not all of it, obviously, but a lot of that I think has done more harm than good. It's misinformation.
How do you feel about donation links? I saw a lot of donation links, people putting like,
that's fine.
Was it card, like in your bio, like donation links in the bio?
I'd see that's neutral, maybe good, depending on where you're donating.
I think I'd have to find
your money wherever you want, and you'll feel good about it. Like, it is what it is.
Well, do we not think donations help? I absolutely think donations help. I think they help more than posting "I support trans rights" on Twitter. I just think it does.
Yeah, just be careful where you send your money. And
sure, yeah, obviously. Like, and speaking of sending money, gang, if you've enjoyed this content, if you like Irrelevant versus the White Women, then please send me money. I will not be posting any irrelevant squares or white women squares or anything like that. I'm just going to give you my honest opinion on things, but we're going to have interesting conversations and content. So feel free to super chat, send some subs, send some bits. It's the first of the month. So let's start us off right. I don't know. Did we kind of answer your question on this, Irrelevant? I think this was your question.
Absolutely.
Started this.
Absolutely. I got my answer. I singled out somebody who posted the black square. It's great. It's
beautiful.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
You can ask me even more.
Any more questions for Irrelevant though? Because I think Irrelevant has had a few. Okay, ladies, go ahead. And I don't think Omar's coming back. I'm sorry, Omar.
How many actual relationships have you been in?
Me?
Yeah.
3.
Like long lasting, not like you go on a date for like a month and you like talk to them for a month. I'm talking like actual relationships.
We were boyfriend girlfriend for 3 of them, if that's what you mean. We were
yeah, like you got.
My first one was 9 months. My second one was 2 years. My third one was 2 months.
So, what do you think caused those relationships to last so long then?
To last so long?
Yeah. Someone's not gonna just say
first one, I I think we just both kind of really liked each other, and it was just kind of vibes. It was for a while. That was when my anxiety of making somebody uncomfortable was like horrible, though. Like that, I could say, just so you guys can get a vibe of it. Okay. My first relationship. We were both 19. They had stated to me that they would only really want to have sex if I initiated it. It's like something that they kind of required to like get turned on in their mind at the time, right? I was so afraid of initiating sex that we didn't have it for 9 months. I didn't have sex at all in that relationship. That was
what
like
was the reason behind being so scared? Was it
I
just like
didn't
pure
want to
social
become
anxiety? When they expressed to you that it wouldn't make them uncomfortable, that it actually made them feel better. So even though you heard them out, you still overrode.
Yes, in my mind, I didn't want to potentially say something or something that would make them uncomfortable, so I didn't do it for 9 months.
So do you think it's like a level of paranoia that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, correct.
Okay. Just clarifying this.
Yep.
I'm just checking.
100%.
Have you done anything to try and mitigate that paranoia?
Yeah, the next relationship, I didn't have that problem. Like, I've been trying.
Okay, that's good.
So,
it's improvement.
I've been trying to alleviate it.
I wanted to give some space to a couple new people. We've been infiltrated. Dave. Okay.
Hi, I'm Dave.
Did you have some thoughts?
Hello, Dave.
For Irrelevant or the white women here that you wanted to share real quick? I'll give you a little space for it.
Mainly probably for Irrelevant. Just general advice. I've been catching a lot of red pill stuff lately, so I've been anti-red pill for a bit. I feel like a little too much importance is placed on like trying to hook up real quick and just go into a relationship, get a girlfriend or get a girl, either start a relationship or have sex with them. The first thing you got to do is just be in places with a lot of girls. Like right here, there's tons of girls that are just talking to you, and just talk. Try to take all the sexual attention out of it and just chill, have a good time, talk about whatever naturally flows, and then go from there. As opposed to like trying to focus on the end result that you want.
I again disagree, but we've I've
So
already put this disagreement out.
So in my experience, so just for me, like I typically don't get like this is an anomaly. This environment. I think the only other time I've ever
Not
had
on the
this
Whick show, but go on.
The only other time I've had this many women on a panel with me at once was when I was doing like a dating show that somebody set up explicitly for me. Mm-hmm. That is the only other time.
Who was that? Who was that with? I was trying to remember it earlier. Oh, okay.
Have you ever tried to like just get women and just contacting women, being like, "Hey, come join the panel"? Like that's literally what Whick did, and he contacted all white women. I mean, Beans, today you're a white woman, but like he just
of all the women I contacted, only one couldn't make it. To be clear, so good success rate. I'm batting really well.
It's just making the attempt, right?
If you want somebody to set things up like this, I do production for other streamers.
Okay, Dave. Okay,
you're welcome to I can
right.
set up these panels for you whenever you want. We can do them on your channel.
Can you go to the void now? He's shilling.
Dave, we love you, but don't try to take my bag. Okay,
you avoided the man.
I am. No, he can chill on his own time. But look, if anyone needs to, look, I'm already kind of salty about Kratos getting like 4K a month to just do what I do for free all the time. But, no shade, Dave. We love you, Dave. But I want to give Ginger some space too.
Ginger, I don't really know where we're at in the conversation.
Why is Irrelevant unfuckable? Go ahead.
Is he?
That's a word to use.
Wait, hold on. We haven't established that.
Now, why isn't he dateable? Why is he undateable? Why can't he get dated?
Because he doesn't let himself be.
Uh-oh.
Go on, elaborate, please.
He doesn't put himself out there enough. He has low self-esteem, which I don't understand. I guess he must have been hurt by the wrong person. A total bitch, I'll have to say. But he has no reason to be self-conscious. He's a good-looking dude. He's smart. He has, a good sense of humor. So
Yeah, I mean, I like to follow on that. I'm still not convinced that like you couldn't recreate this this vibe in like an in real life setting.
I feel like the only
Okay, first of all, I'll
Well,
answer
I
this
know that-
question why he can't. It's because of Darius. Darius is an anchor. He is an albatross around your neck.
he's a cock block.
Yeah, you need look. I understand it's great content.
I'm guessing
funny,
Darius was the screamer.
but most
earlier.
people who watch Darius and you, I'll tell you what they're watching. They're watching to see Darius do something crazy and getting himself arrested or killed. That's one of those two things that is they're waiting for it to happen. They're waiting for Darius to die, basically. And they're gonna watch and they're gonna have fun. They're gonna eat popcorn, but that's what they're waiting for, right? That's why they're watching.
Also, I'm
mean,
sorry,
I don't-
just to follow real quick. Yeah, I don't really know this Darius too well. But from what you said earlier, it kind of also sounds like you compare yourself a little bit to him, or at least his success maybe, or his approach. And it just doesn't seem like the approach that you should be taking, or that would work for you. And so I think that that's possibly causing some issues there.
Well, I mean, not to mention you like miss. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Art.
Yeah, I'm not trying to emulate him. I think it's just a really good case study for how different approaches have like positive and negative effects. And like part of the issues that I was talking about earlier with my approach just not really working. It doesn't work. And how I need to shift my approach. I think the reason why I'm comparing it is because it shows how much his approach works in some ways and fails in others. Like he finds a lot of women, he has a lot of interest, he has a fuckload of sex, and he has a bunch of women who are interested in him in a relationship capacity for a time being. And then it seems like these women who want relationships with him tend to be pretty toxic and not really like great people for long-term sustainable relationships.
Can
So
I
I'm not trying
comment
to
on that?
emulate. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I think that the reason why Darius has the issue that he does is because he will hit on anybody that he thinks is attractive, versus you don't do that. He will hit on pretty much anything that he's interested in, and yes, of course, he's going to get more ass than you do because he hits on more ass than you do. Like his odds are higher because he has no like really limitations. So the girls that are going to go for his act are the crazy ones. They're the ones that are going to react in certain ways and react towards him in certain ways and be toxic like Grace or, Xena.
The best thing that Darius does is he goes for whatever he can find, right? Whatever interests him, he just goes for it. That's the best quality that Darius has. He's also
low standard?
crazy, and he has other issues that you do not want to emulate. Please don't. But yeah, that part of it, that's to his credit.
Have y'all seen the meme where it's like the WhickTV and it's like how to find a cool and exciting girlfriend, and it's a man standing outside of a psych ward?
Oh no.
That's a great idea. I'm gonna do that on my next outing.
Well, she will be exciting.
Another misogynistic joke for your book, Wick.
Yes.
I think my black eye joke was pretty good.
Yeah, your black eye, yeah.
I feel
Wait,
like
which
you
one
just
was
have to adjust your fear of making people uncomfortable to like a fear of making people justifiably uncomfortable. Because like Gym Girl, that was like ridiculous. Like the only reason a person I think would feel like vindicated in their discomfort is if they, express disinterest and then you keep going or something like that. Or if you open up with something like fucking insane, which you don't seem like the type to do at all. So I feel like you just have to accept that like some people are going to be needlessly uncomfortable and like that's stupid, but it's not a you problem.
Okay, we're winding this down,
100%.
gang, but I wanted to bring on Aaron here and
Hey,
some
what's
kind of
happening?
final
Irrelevant.
Questions, final advice, and
Ladies,
wrap
how
it up.
y'all doing? Irrelevant.
well.
I have three very short things to just say to you, and as somebody who I think has a lot of promise. By the way, I've been in your chat before. I've rousted you and trolled you before because you have so much promise, and not just with the ladies, but just in. Oh, I just lost my cameras for some reason. So here's what I have to say. 3 things. 1, young man, go skin your knees. Go fall on your knees multiple times, crying to the Lord. And in happiness and in joy, go experience it. Because that's what life is about. You got one short time to experience it. Go do it. Don't be afraid of it. It's part of the fear is part of living. That's just about it. You got to get over it. You got to learn to get over it. That's just experiencing it. You're going to get hurt. That's part of the joy of learning what's good for you is what hurts you and what you don't want. You know, you got to go through it. You're not going to avoid it. And that's one of the things I hear from the kids. Second, find a new freaking circle song. Find a new circle because these people are holding you back, whatever it is. Seriously, I know you can keep them. Doesn't mean you need to move on and move away. You will do that naturally. Okay, that's a thing. Now, keep Darius because although I disagree with the rest of them, you do need somebody in the background to make you look totally serious because it's great. It makes you look great all the time in comparison. I know sometimes he'll pull your wingman shit, but that's where you need to learn how to Heisman. That's part of skinning your knees. And the third portion is utilize the tool that you have that most people don't have, which is the unassuming, unabashed earnestness that you have, sir. And this is something that most people don't have, which is you have a stature and an unassumingness about you that, trust me, when I show you as comparative to some others, to my lady friends, I go, would you date that? And they go, hell yes. But this is the thing. If you're not comfortable with you and you're not associated with you, son, and I say son because I'm telling you, like I see you out there, man. I see a lot like you, and you're a good example of the community. But if you don't love you, if you don't know you, then you won't even let yourself skin your knee. So go do that first, and then find some good friends who will support you and introduce you to many ladies like these folks.
Okay. Thank you. What do you think, Irrelevant? I'll give you a chance.
On the skin the knees bit, I definitely got my fair bit of skinning the knee, especially in the last year. As a reference, by going out and interacting with women, I've been rejected, I think 45 times in the last year. I think that's like a fair amount. I think that's fair for like most. I don't think most guys shoot that many times in a year.
Is it typical for men to count how many times they got rejected?
No, it's not typical at all. The reason why I counted is primarily because I want to establish like how my pattern for how I'm going about like doing interactions between people from like month to month and year to year, because I want to establish whether or not I'm shooting as many times and how many times I'm missing and like why I'm missing and things like that.
But Irrelevant, you understand how sometimes the clinical side of this misses the interpersonal set, which I understand. You have a lot of similarity to 𝕵𝖎𝖙. I really think if you haven't read On the Road, please go do that. Dharma Bums as well. That may help you in some aspect of finding yourself in this, from a clinical value to a more esoteric personal value. But interpersonally, man, you can't debate bro a lady. You can't debate bro yourself. And this is the thing about it is you just kind of got to give into some of these things of like, you're going to keep it. Look, life is never ending series of skinning your knees. The count on it isn't going to matter. It's whether or not you learn from it. Now, if you keep repeating it, maybe start counting it to figure out how many times you're repeating it so you can realize you're going insane. But then, make a right turn for yourself, man. That's the other thing. Isn't that a tough thing to do? And you're young. You're really young. Give yourself grace, man.
Thanks.
Give yourself grace.
We got some dad vibes going on, but that's okay.
Well,
I wanted before we go ahead.
I said it's sweet.
Yeah, it is sweet. But I wanted to go ahead and give you a chance to, Aaron specifically, to ask the white women a question since you have them here.
Yeah, ladies.
What do you got for them?
Yeah, I was thinking about this too. Thank you. I appreciate that, Whick. And by the way, everybody, I don't know if Whick is single, but he shouldn't be. I'm just saying that.
I don't talk about my personal life on here. Let's keep it moving.
I understand. I know. Anyways, so ladies, if there is one thing that you think Irrelevant could interpersonally improve on that you haven't mentioned now, what would that be? Because I think there's a couple things that haven't been mentioned. So.
I don't know about interpersonally. Just what I said earlier about adjusting the fear of making someone uncomfortable to like having a healthy fear of making somebody justifiably uncomfortable, which I think is good for everybody. But it seems like he's afraid of like even somebody with like hypersensitivity problems. Like you can't account for that. Like you can't. I don't know.
Stop being so hard on yourself. Like it's gonna happen. Counting how many times you failed is probably not a good thing to do. So. Yeah,
Ice Beans.
I mean, I'd kind of reiterate the expanding the settings in which you are. I mean, maybe play some games that are not Tarkov. Just essentially getting yourself in the same. I just think that getting yourself in the same room as women is probably going to be your best bet. Because to me, I know you keep saying this is an anomaly. I know you say that like the sort of like chemistry that we all have, or that we have with you specifically, is like artificial. But I don't think that that's true. I think that if someone were talking to you in a bar, you may be more awkward in person, maybe, right? But I've talked to a lot of awkward guys. I've hung out with a lot of like I've hung out with a lot of autistic people, like straight up people who don't know social cues at all, and also don't know where they're failing in those social situations, and I don't think that you would come off so harshly. I just think that, and sometimes people find that endearing too. So I just
Can I do quick shoot response?
$5 from Cryborn to say
Alright,
this is
I thought Wick was the
depressing.
one.
Fair enough, but
Yeah.
go on.
No, I was just no, sorry, go Wick. I was just gonna say, like, I just think you need to get in, like, just hang out with more women. You'll be fine.
Was someone wanted to say something to me?
I wanted to ask if I could do quick shoot responses to each one of these.
Go for it.
Okay, so Allison's statement, I agree. I need to figure out a way to, and that's what I've been doing for, I think it was 12 months is when I started. So last year, is I've been trying to establish where a justifiable line is versus like where I am right now. It's a process. It takes time. It'll probably take years, but so there's that. What you were saying, I'm sorry, what is your name? I don't know. Huh?
Ice beans?
No, the person who spoke before. It just says M.
Miss Millie.
Oh, Miss Millie.
Miss Melly, excuse me.
Miss
Okay,
Millie,
Miss
yeah.
Your statement about what I should do.
Don't be so hard on yourself is what I
Yeah, don't be so hard on myself about some of these things. I'm not I guess I wouldn't know how hard I should be on myself, so I don't really know necessarily how to respond to that. But to the counting thing is primarily just so I can have a more, because in my mind, I've tried the lay back and easy, just like take it easy and just like vibe. It doesn't work.
Mhm.
It's how I got into this.
The 1, 2, 3.
Before, I actually thought I was very good with women. Like, I used to call myself like Volcel, like whatever. I'm just vibing. And then when I want to start dating, I'll start dating. And I went into dating. I realized this shit fucking is hard, dude. This shit is really hard. I actually can't do it. I don't have what it takes. So I tried to like lay back vibe. And so now I'm doing a much more concerted effort of kind of tactfully taking some of my problems and tackling them, hence the 1 year bit. I've been working on these things for about a year. So that's at least my preliminary response to that. Ice beans, excuse me. I want to say beams. My response to what you're talking about, getting myself inside of those environments and like trying to figure out more groups. First of all, I'll never stop playing Tarkov. That is blasphemy. Okay. But the second point is, yeah, I understand. I think the way that I interact is probably more conducive towards, unfortunately, and Wick, you're going to cringe for this, being friends with somebody prior to like getting into a relationship or anything like that. I think that's the kind of thing that I personally would excel at in comparison. So yeah, finding some way to more organically get inside of settings with other people is probably something that I need to figure out how to do. The problem is like I just kind of don't really like doing much shit that has me interact with people.
Are you having fun today?
Doing that? Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is the kind of thing you need to do. If you're having fun doing this, we're not playing Tarkov.
How many panels are full? What?
Well, I can make panels full of
Start
women.
inviting more people.
I can
on
make
to
panels
it.
full of women.
It has
for you.
binders full of women.
Bro.
Did you know I had a panel arc?
No, I did not.
There was like a year and a half to 2 years where every single day I went on panels. Every single day. It was a part of my content. I woke up, and I think it was like 4 to 6 hours of panels. Is primarily, shout out Freems, that guy. I went on his panels, right? And then I would go off and then I would do my own thing.
Fair enough. But
like every day.
I understand Wick panels are a little different. They're built different. That's fine.
They are.
Let's go to Ginger.
Wick
Go to Ginger. $2 from 𝕾𝖍𝖙 Johnson. Don't listen to them, really. Flaccid dick pic for the win. Emperor Day for $2.
Don't forget the ruler next to
Ladies,
Yeah,
do
yeah.
any of you want to shoot your shot? True. I think everyone here is in a relationship.
Everybody here stated that they're in a relationship.
Yeah. But who knows? Maybe they're open. I don't know.
No.
No.
Well, anyone want to shoot their shot live on stream?
There's some terrible shit to say.
Not to put you on the spot, anyone, but if anyone wants to shoot their shot, now's your chance. Go fortune.
I'm in a very happy relationship, but you're very cool. Like, you can do it. You can do it.
What about someone in the chat coming up and shooting their shot?
Yeah. Is there anyone in chat? Is there anyone watching me right now that wants to come and shoot their shot with Irrelevant right now?
I'm saying, come on.
I'm reading chat and I just noticed somebody said, first message, Comrade Leroy. His haircut is his biggest enemy. I am trying, dude. I'm trying so many different products.
I like the hair.
I don't know what the
I have no
think
idea.
the hair's good.
That person, no.
You're
Yeah,
little
shit
tight
is
Have a
nose.
happening
clean
to me.
haircut. Like they're just trolling.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think, I don't know.
Your
I've
hair's
gotten a lot.
fine.
I've gotten a lot of comments.
Compared to the most of the people in your sphere, bro,
right,
you
that's
are
what
great
people
looking
do.
dude.
They
Come on.
find something that you're insecure about, and then they fuck with it, right? So it's an easy target. So
Yes.
if you're too
Unironically true.
concerned about your fucking mustache or your fucking hair, or like you're overweight or whatever, like joke about it with them. Make sure you're willing to laugh
Right for the
about
mustache.
yourself.
God damn.
Nothing's wrong with that. You're seeing exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm fucking with
Yeah,
you.
no. No, you're good. You're good. No, but seriously, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm burning up hot. Like it's like 85 degrees in this house right now, and the technician came and he fucked up our AC unit.
Oh,
And, so,
no.
and then he was like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna cost like another $200 to replace this item that I fucked up." And I'm like, "No,
No way, yeah. Tell them to fuck off. Fuck that.
yeah." Yeah. So now we have to wait until the 8th until our thing comes in, so we can actually have cold air.
Well, okay, while we wait for someone to gather the courage, and trust me, it takes courage to publicly shoot your shot, but if you're willing to, I'm willing to have you on. Let's go to Ginger and see what Ginger has to say, and then we'll go to Julie, and then we'll end this.
You just get in your head too much. You overthink certain things that don't need to be overthought. Like, I get it's a scary like proposition to put yourself out there for somebody that you're attracted to, but you miss every opportunity you don't take. So that's the best advice I can give you. You're, like I said, you are a good looking dude. You're smart. You're funny. It's there. You're just, you're limiting yourself too much.
Okay. Well, do you have a response to that before we go to Julie?
I feel like all of the only response that I could have to that would be kind of like similar to the previous response of like, I'm like overextending. Like, it's a statement that we might agree or disagree on the lines and like where they exist between things. So I don't really feel like I can have a response to that now.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Julie, you got something?
I frankly did not eat enough before I opened those drinks. I don't know what's going on.
You okay?
I need
Go wasted. Woo!
Do I need to
Look,
like,
Julie, you're still, we still love you, okay? You're still a valued member of the WhickTV community.
I
Love
need
having
some
you. Thank you.
snacks, man.
I want to, look, Julie's the first person I reached out to, right? Honestly. Julie and Allison both. And they both were like, no questions asked. Get us in there. We'll help you do content. We don't need no notice. Let me jump in the shower and get ready, and we're good to go. So props to them. Thank you for helping me, because it's been a great show. I think we've had an interesting discussion. Thank you, Irrelevant, for being willing to jump on and challenge these women. I was feeling a little overwhelmed having to deal with them all. So thank you for having my back, brother man. But for now,
White women too much for Wick.
like, look, I can take.
Also, Wick, hold on. I need to know how long does my white woman last for past this point?
It doesn't pass this point. As long as you're on the panel, you're good for
Beans,
it.
you got 24 hours.
What you got?
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
I mean, Wick obviously doesn't see me as a white woman because I wasn't invited to the panel.
What do you mean you weren't invited? I saw you in chat. I said, come on. That was an invitation. What do you think that was?
It was late. Okay, it was a late invitation. All right,
Well,
sir.
Look, okay. For now, we're
does the white
gonna end.
come with lattes? Anyway,
Let me tell you guys what I got coming up. Okay, let me make my money. So what I got coming up tomorrow, 7 p.m. So a little later than I normally do. 7 p.m. Eastern. We're having Aristocracy on. We're gonna be talking about political violence with aristocracy. She watched my panel. I'm curious what she thinks. And yeah, we'll talk about it.
It's okay.
Yeah, we might have call-ins after if you guys want to call in after and talk to her yourself, but I don't know yet. We'll figure that out as we go. Thursday, I'll be talking to Tuna Chip, and then Friday, we're going to have 𝕵𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜 on to verse the world. So if you've any problems with any takes he's made, and you want to reach out to me and challenge him directly, now's your chance. And it's going to be a little later too. It's going to start at 8 p.m. Eastern on Friday. So 𝕵𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜 verse the world. More than willing to have you on. More than willing to have you on to talk to this communist, socialist man yourself. But anyway, for now, we're going to rate out. Who are we going to? Ice Beans, are you going to be streaming after this?
No, I'm going to be done soon.
Ginger, are you going to be streaming after this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then we're going to go to Ginger.
Oh, thank you.
Heyo.
Heyo.
Wait, Miss Millie, are you on?
No, I haven't streamed in months.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see her on. I'm looking at the people who are. I'm following this. I'm following everyone here. So I didn't. The only person I'm seeing on is the two I mentioned.
Okay.
Peace out, Girl Scouts. See you guys tomorrow.
Thank you.
7
Good
p.m.
night.
Bye.
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 Have a good one. Thank you.
Bye.